Welcome to the regular meeting of the San Juan Bautista Planning Commission. Today is January 5th, 2016, the first one of the new year. Call to order, please. Roll call.
Vanny Guevara.
Here.
Eric Redesell.
Here.
Pat Garrett.
Here.
David Medeiros.
Here.
Ernest Franco. All present.
Okay. Now be the time.
Pledge.
Oh, let's go with the pledge of allegiance.
Let's not forget our country.
You got it. All what's happening. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
I'll not forget our nation.
Okay. Now it's public comment. Anybody who would like to address the Planning Commission on an item that is not on the agenda, now would be the time to do it. You want to tell us what we should be doing for the new year, or how good the last year was, this would be a good time. If you want to say something about something that's on the agenda, please hold your comments until that item comes up, and that way the entire record will be kept together instead of being split throughout the recording here. Does anyone like to speak? No speaker cards. Okay, we'll take none on that. Okay, we have another item 3, ceremonial item, selection of chairperson and vice chairperson for the coming year.
I move that we retain our current chair and vice chair.
I second that. Third? I third that.
What do you guys think?
You're okay with that? I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless
Okay.
somebody else wants to jump in, that's fine. I
Anybody want to jump in?
think you guys are doing a
I
fine
think
job.
you did a great job. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
You know, if we rotate it, we can make that a policy and make it rotate it or whatever.
Yeah.
We could, but I really rely on your expertise as a former planner, and you know.
Franco.
Oh, hey. I'm sorry. Nobody saying anything for a minute? Okay, I'm
I
on.
got it. Okay.
Okay, so what would the policy want to be, or how do you want to do it? You moved, you got a second on your motion?
Let's
Right.
just vote.
And I don't think we're going against policy. I think we're okay.
Should be another item on the agenda for next week.
Ah,
It's not on the agenda.
yeah.
Okay, we can
Change
put,
policy and rotate.
that could be on continuation of the bylaws. Our policy could be there. Okay, do we vote on this, or is this a consensus, or what?
Did a vote or a consensus?
A consensus.
Okay. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have to be resworn?
No, I don't think so, because you're just changing, or not even changing position.
Okay, so the swearing in wasn't good for 1 to 12 months. Okay. Informal project review. Anybody who has a potential project in the city, rather than go to your attorneys, your engineers, etc., you can give an informal presentation, and if we tell you it's not going to fly in the city, you can go back and tell the guys that it won't, and you can tell your architects to come up with a design that's San Juanish. Are there any?
There's no.
We have no informal project reviews. Okay. We got consent items. We have the approval of the affidavit of posting of the agenda, unless anybody has any comment on that, to apply. We have the minutes of the meeting of September 1. See,
I
don't-
have a correction to make. Just
Okay.
a minor item 5A. Just capitalize the applicant's name, L.
5A.
And unless there are any other,
Wait a minute, applicants,
Yeah.
L, okay. Yeah, let's take one, it's a small one. On the page 4, 1, 2, 3, okay, under streetscapes, the last 3 words, a question and, it's just,
in question.
yeah, so that's not a big thing.
So with those revisions, I move that we accept both A and B.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
got my cheat sheet for the call. So roll call vote, that would be Randy Bear,
Aye.
Eric Redsoff,
Aye.
Pat Garrett, David Maderas,
Aye.
Ernest Franco.
Aye.
All members of the commission being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes unanimously.
Okay, we have, let's see, we have a public hearing item. So, consider a lot line adjustment for assessors parcel number 002-540-007. That's a low-density residential district. Assessors parcel number 002-350-009 and 10 is an agricultural district. The applicants are John Nyland and Barbara Kozam. This is a continued item. We want to do is to adopt a categorical exemption for the lot line adjustment and then consider a resolution approving the lot line adjustment. Staff.
An application has been submitted for a lot line adjustment of 3 parcels owned by the applicants. The Subdivision Map Act allows lot line adjustments of 4 or fewer existing lots, where land taken from one parcel is added to an adjoining parcel, and where a greater number of parcels than originally existed is not thereby created. The city's review and approval is limited in scope to conformity with the general plan or any specific plan if applicable, zoning regulations, building code compliances, and the relocation or facilitate easements. Infrastructure and or existing utilities conditions can be placed on the approval of the lot line adjustment subject to the following. A, the lot line adjustment shall be reflected in the deed, which shall be recorded in the San Benito County Recorder's Office. B, that prepayment of real property taxes is made prior to recording of the deeds. C, relocate or facilitate access easements, utilities, and or infrastructure. Staff recommends and staff has reviewed the application and recommends that the Planning Commission approve lot line adjustment 2015-1201 with the following conditions: that the Planning Commission make the finding that the application for a lot line adjustment of John Island and Barbara Kozam is categorically exempt under Article 19, Section 15305, Class 5, Subsection A of the California Environmental Quality Act, and adopt Resolution 216 XX. Adopt Resolution 216XX, lot line adjustment 215-1201 that requires the applicants to record the final deeds of each parcel with the San Benito County Recorder's Office and pay the recording fees and prepayment of taxes. And the third and last condition, that the applicant recorded a deed restriction on the property with the County Recorder's Office for parcel 3, a 1.81 acre parcel consisting of the portion of outlots 9 and 20 that is within city limits and southerly of State Highway 156 to be a non-conforming and a non-buildable parcel until 30-foot wide ingress-egress public utility easement is recorded for the parcel.
Okay, would the applicants like to say anything on this matter?
Hi, my name is Ann Hall, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant, John Nyland.
Okay.
And our office helped prepare this lot line adjustment. The applicant is grateful to staff for the effort they put in helping us get this through. It's kind of some odd-shaped lots left over from a long ago subdivision with the highway and everything. So we're trying to clean it up. The applicant is good with the conditions that the city has put together. They have no issue with them, and they're prepared to go forward with your approval.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was one of the concerns we had, was the representation by the applicant. We have that. Now we know that the applicant will live with conditions of approval. So I guess the first thing we want to do is getting us a categorically exempt. Oh, is anyone in the public who would like to speak on this? For or against or in between? Nobody. Okay, let's talk about the first one. We need a categorical exemption. We have a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of San Juan Bautista adopting a categorical exemption for lot line adjustment number LLA 2015-1201
It should
under
be
Article
categorical.
categorical Categorical exemption?
Categorical.
Categorical?
Categorical. Oh,
Yeah.
I just read it.
I know.
For, under Article 19 of CEQA. Okay. Chair, well, do you have any discussions you want to do first?
I'm not clear on exactly where this is. Is it the lowland area
No, it's
or
up
up
on
on the
the
hill?
I think it's up on the hill.
Okay.
There's a city water tank up there.
Yeah.
Are the applicants aware of the hillside restrictions that were just sent to city council?
I'm not sure myself. I know Roger has been dealing with them personally, but I'm sure they should be aware of it.
We just sent up a recommended ordinance for hillside development regulations. I think the council has heard it once.
Okay, I'm not familiar with the text of that specifically, but I do know these lots are, they are the hillside there that goes up from Lang Street near the water tank. They're creating two very large lots. We know there's a lot of slope there. There's limited building opportunities, but we'll make sure and look at the new hillside ordinance recommendations and see if they can make sure they comply.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
There's only two parcels, right? 1 and 2?
3.
There's 3. But one of them's going to be down a small little piece down in front of the water tank.
Oh, that one up way on the other side?
Right. So there'll be 2 on the hillside, and then the third one's down low.
Okay. If we have no discussion, the chair will accept a motion for action.
I'm a little leery about lot line adjustments just because of the history that we've had. Is there an imminent project or just housekeeping right now, or?
It's more housekeeping. There was, because the 2 smaller pieces, I don't know if you I don't know what you have to look at, but do you have the before and afters?
I believe so, yeah.
So if you can see on the before, 2 of the parcels were little tiny triangles that were non-buildable. They had been formed when as part of an old subdivision, and then when the highway came through, it created basically 2 unbuildable lots. So the property owner's trying to take the existing parcels he has and turn them into something more useful. And then in adding to kind of the confusion, part of them were, the 2 smaller ones are in the county, and then one was in the city. So there most likely is going to be a follow-up action with some of the county parcels after this to clean up the remainder, but we had to start with the city pieces to begin with.
Well, it says parcel 3 is that a portion of it is non-conforming and a non-buildable parcel until a utility easement is recorded.
Right. Again, I'm not sure what you're looking at, but you can see the parcel 3, it comes to a point at the road. And
It's hard to read.
the concern was, right now, as it sits, it's not very accessible. It's not accessible now in its current configuration. We're not making it any worse by doing the lot line adjustment, but that particular parcel isn't getting much better either. But like I said, that third one is going to end up in the county. And the next parcel over is also owned by the same property owner. So he's in a position to give himself an easement to that property, so that requirement is not a hardship for him. It's not going to require him to go to another property owner to grant that easement.
So one party owns parcel 1 and 2?
They own all 3.
Oh,
The
they own all
same party
3.
own all
Okay.
3.
So in the future, there's not going to be any easements that's required, possibly for parcel 2?
Exactly. like I said, it's going to be kind of a two-step process. The second step's going to be in the county, but we had to start in the city. Just trying to clean up those, because those two smaller triangular parcels were pretty useless in their current
Right.
condition.
Okay.
This one document, I don't know, is this the before?
Yeah.
Okay, this
Kind of,
says
yeah.
tentative, subject to change. What does that mean? Okay.
Oh, this is from the assessor's parcel.
That's an existing assessor's map,
Right.
right? And here is the designed and changed.
New and
You have one,
improved.
you have one property line being installed here, one removed here,
Right.
making this a bigger one, and making this one big one into two.
Right,
So now you have three.
right.
So cleaning up, in your terms, means to make this a usable, and usable.
Yes.
Bottom line,
Well, this one
subject to...
still isn't
yeah.
quite usable, but that makes these two are. And then,
Right.
like I said, the requirement, I'm sorry, I have to point here, but
Mm-hmm.
the requirement for an easement affects this one, but that's also owned by the same person in the county. So
Mm-hmm.
getting that easement to get to here won't be an issue.
Okay.
Okay. I'll take my paper back. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't have any concerns or any comments.
Okay.
Yeah. Seems like housekeeping to me.
Okay, I'll then entertain a motion for action.
Anything that goes in there is going to be subject to planning commission
Right.
anyway.
Yep.
so-
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the land,
So,
the hillside.
I mean, if you want to help them start working, start helping them now, is my take.
I concur. Okay, motion for action.
I move that we pass a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of San Juan Bautista approving a lot line adjustment for the John Nyland project, number lot line adjustment 2015-1201 on Lawson Drive, APN 002-350-009 and 010, as well as 002-540-007.
Okay, is there a second on that motion? And what number do we assign it?
I'm sorry, the first thing that I think we need to pass is a categorical
Oh.
exemption,
Oh, we,
and it will be resolution only.
Back up.
okay.
I thought that's what we were doing.
Can they be done together?
The two separate
It's
ones.
two
There's-
separate?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I thought, so we haven't done the exemption yet?
No.
Oh, I see where you're going with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I move that we make a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of San Juan Bautista adopting a categorical exemption for a lot line adjustment number lot line or LLA 2015-1201, APN number 002-350-009 and 010. As well as APN 002-540-007 under Article 19, Section 15305A of the CEQA.
Is there a second on the motion? Okay.
Commissioner Hebert,
Aye.
Commissioner Grossoff,
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett, Commissioner Medeiros,
Aye.
Chairman Franco.
Aye.
All members of the commission being present, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay. We have a second. Now we take action for the approval of the lot line adjustment. Is there any discussion on this one? Okay.
You want to go over the conditions, or before we do?
Okay. The applicant record the legal descriptions of each parcel of the lot line adjustment number 2015-1201 with the San Benito County Recorder's Office, pay the recording fee on prepayment of property taxes. The applicant recorded deed restriction on the property with the county recorder's office for parcel 3A.
Parcel 3A, 1.3.
Oh, 3A, parcel 3, okay. Well, 1.81 acres consisting of that portion of outlot 9, outlot 20 within the city limits of the city of San Juan Bautista, and, that should be and, southerly
Yeah.
of State Highway 156 to be non-conforming and non-buildable partial until a 30-foot wide ingress, egress, and public utility easement is recorded for the parcel, as recommended by staff.
Does the applicant understand?
No problem?
We're okay?
No problem with that. Okay, so we have a willing applicant and a planning commission ready to take action.
Do I have to move it again?
Sure.
Okay. I move for a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of San Juan Bautista approving a lot line adjustment for the John Nyland project, number LLA 2015-1201 on Lawson Drive, APN number 002-350-009 and 010, as well as 002-540-007.
Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Okay.
Commissioner Gebert,
Aye.
Commissioner Gretasaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett,
Aye.
Commissioner Dederis,
Aye.
Chairman Franco.
Okay.
All members of the commission being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes unanimously.
Okay, now we have a consider a lot line adjustment at 415 7th Street. Applicant is Al Valles. And again, the state of California has determined I have a conflict of interest because I live within 300 feet of the project. Therefore, I'm relinquishing my position at this moment and passing the gavel to the Vice Chairman, Mr. Medeiros.
Remove yourself, please. Thank you.
I got my puzzle ready.
Let the games begin.
Okay, with this being said, staff, what do we want to report here?
Okay, so the applicant has decided to continue this item and has proposed a special meeting for the item. Reason being so our city attorney could be present and be of assistance with whatever potential problems this project may arise. So in front of, or I have handed out some calendars. I have noted the days that that the city attorney is not able to come or be present here.
Okay.
Just real quick, on those, the 12th is the strategic plan meetings. That's probably not a good night.
Right.
The 14th is neighborhood watch, but if we had to move it, we probably could if everybody else met those needs.
How about the 13th?
There is a good possibility I may not be back by then.
How about,
Why don't we just take it over to the next meeting? Instead of having a special meeting?
Because
Well,
the-
she won't,
Yeah,
we
the
need
city
her to
attorney's not
be here.
available.
We need to,
The city attorney is not available. She's also the city attorney for City of Marina, and she has a city council meeting on the same night, which is tonight.
So when might you be back?
I will be back probably the 12th or the 13th, so
Let's try the 14th.
I can
me
simply
think.
push the
14th.
neighborhood watch meeting again.
Oh, I thought you said that was
It's-
13th.
No, it's the 14th, but I mean, it's not an official city event, so.
what time of day is this going to be?
Well, so the folks that live around the area that have concerns and questions about the project, I would recommend that we have it in the evening, just to accommodate all parties.
Right. So we're looking at 6 o'clock,
I-
and right now we're looking to the 14th.
The 14th or the following week, yeah. The 18th is Martin Luther King Day. City Council the 19th, so it's 14th. Friday's probably not great days
No.
to do it either. So 14th or the 20th.
Does the 14th work for you, Donna?
14th will work.
John, 14th? January?
It's a Thursday.
It should.
Okay, well, let's go for that.
14th.
Okay, so the consensus is we're going to do it on the 14th at 6 PM here in the council chamber.
The only issue with that is that we would need a 10-day notice period, since
So
it is
it's-
a public hearing notice.
It's got to be the 20th.
Okay, how about the 20th?
It's going to have to be the 20th then.
You're going to make me run the neighborhood watch meeting.
In fact, I'd rather do it on the 20th myself. But that's the day after city council, that's fine?
Yeah.
Okay,
Is everybody happy with the 20th?
okay.
I don't hear any negative or,
We still have an opportunity to speak on this.
Yes.
yes, it's a
And you
public,
can always
it's going to
write
be a
letters.
public meeting. Absolutely. And if we can't do it on the 20th, we'll do it on a different day.
Okay,
20th gives you
It gives us more than enough time to
Yeah.
send out
gives
the
you time
notices.
to get a letter typed out.
and that meeting will just be on the topic of
Yes.
7th Street
It
project?
would be on the 7th Street project, and I mean, whatever else you guys would like to add to
He
the
has the
agenda,
other
so.
project. I don't know whether that needs to be coupled or not.
Yeah, well, actually, that I believe that's continued for the February meeting.
Oh, it is, okay.
So then we don't have to make a motion on this at all. We just put on record that we have decided to continue this item until the 20th of January at 6 PM in the council chamber. And everybody's in favor of that.
Yes.
That's here present today.
Yep.
Okay. So that ends that subject.
But do we want to hear from the audience on?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That is what he
wait a
asked.
minute. No, I thought we were going to wait till then, but I guess we can still do some,
Two nights at the Apple are much better than one.
yeah.
Huh?
John Ferrera?
Good evening, John Ford, 507 7th Street. I'll be brief because I'm going to get another opportunity later on. One comment I have to our planning staff is the staff reports, I believe, that are being put out on this topic, and probably other topics, are very confusing to read, because I'm reading from the November 3rd staff report, which starts out exactly as the January 5th staff report, except within the January 5th staff report, words are changed. And unless you have both of them side by side, or you have to have both of them side by side to see if any of those changes are significant. And I don't think that's fair to older people like me that have to squint anyway. But what I noticed in here is in the November packet, it says that the applicant is proposing a revision to the previously approved site design plans. And I didn't know that there were previously approved site plans,
That was-
unless it's building site.
That was probably from the previously approved in 2006.
2006.
Well, okay, well, that needs to be clear in here. And then that sentence is
Yeah.
carried over
Yeah.
in the January 5th staff report, but also in the January 5th staff report, in the lot line section staff report, it talks about a new set of plans where the house sizes have been reduced to afford for a 12-foot 6 setback to the rear. I've seen no plans that show these changes in the house design, unless, again, I'm misinterpreting the way these are written.
Where do you see that? In the text of the staff report?
You see the changes in the back set lot, but you don't see it in the floor plan?
Well, I don't see a new set of floor plans, but it talks about, based upon the revised plan submitted and the reduced square footage
Right.
of each structure
Yes.
on the core.
To accommodate the back lot?
Yeah, have you seen plans on?
Yes.
Yeah,
There's one right here.
Right here.
It shows 12 feet off the back of the property.
yeah.
Yep.
But
Okay, well, that's not available.
the only thing I'm concerned about.
It's in the book underneath the, oh, you've got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. You don't have to apologize to me. To go on, in here, there's a statement, and I believe it's on the staff report regarding the site design and review, that says that the The sound wall, which we built along the state highway property line, will be higher than the roof line of the two proposed houses on the rear lots. And unless I can't read a map, when you look at the rear houses and you see the top of the sound wall, it may be as high as the single-story portion of the house's construction in the back, but not the two-story portions, which are clearly 8 feet higher than the sound wall. Now, if you've driven to town lately and you've seen the homes that are being built at the end of 7th Street, they're way above that sound wall. And to be honest with you, had there been a deeper opportunity for review, I might have said something about 10-foot ceilings and 10-foot attic spaces, making those houses 20 feet tall. And certainly, I don't know, that's a whole lot of heating going on.
My concern too with this thing is that where this retaining wall is, we need a surveyor to make sure that this fence is not right on the property line. If that fence is 3 foot back, this whole drawing is wrong. Because they're digging out 5.5 feet of dirt right there behind where that retaining wall is, and putting a retaining wall in there. And then they're going down another 18 feet and digging another 4.5 feet of dirt out to the lower part of the garage and house. My concern is that we need this property surveyed before we even talk about it.
I guess one question I have is on the history of 4 parcels being there. And I've talked to several people who have been around for a while, and most of them agree that there was the Rudd's house. There was what they called the honeymoon cottage next to the Rudd's house. And then when they did the bypass on 156, they took a bunch of land in the back that may or may not have been part of those 2 parcels in the front, and this was leftover land that was either given to, sold, I don't know what, but ended up behind these parcels, and I don't think there was ever an intent that those were separate parcels. And I see here that they're certified. I'm not exactly sure what certified means, but I still don't think that this planning commission of the city has ever approved 4 homes being built in that location.
These lots at one time did run up past the highway a little bit. I got a map here, but they were paid for that portion of property by the state of California.
Correct. And by selling that property, they lost
Right.
the ability to build on it. And I'm sure they were compensated for that. And that's why when you look at 7th Street, it goes up past where TT's house was on the right, and it dead ends into the highway. I think originally the intent was that was going to be an access road to those parcels in the back.
There were that one
Not
time going
7th
to be an 8th Street in San Juan.
No!
The state highway went in there.
I have to get 2 more toes.
But also, I was going to tell you too, these 2 lots in the back also take in the driveway. That's how they're getting their square footage, because the lots by themselves are only 3,100 square feet, and that's way under our ordinance.
I think it is very important for the attorney to be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think even Mr. Dubois, I don't know if you're aware that in here, and this is another thing I kind of object to in the way some of these staff reports are written, because they characterize the developer as being an expert at building contemporary housing. I'd have to find the sentence in there. And I don't
Mr. Valles,
opinion.
Al Valles.
No.
We talked about him building contemporary homes.
Well, somewhere in here it talks about the abilities of the applicant, and I don't think that's necessarily part of staff's job. They're just to get facts, not opinions. But if you go down 7th Street, you can see another project right across the street from this that was an addition to a very small house that had to be 800, 600 square feet. And I think the application for that was an addition and a remodeling of a garage, and instead what we now have is a triplex right there on 7th Street. And I don't know if that's permitted. I'm not trying to wrap people off, but that's the quality of the proponent to this project.
Hey, John, After you found out that these lots were approved back in 2006, did you have a different position on that after, as far as your views go? When you,
Well, I don't think anybody on the street really knew that there were 4 parcels there.
oh,
You know, unless you looked at a parcel map. And to be quite frank, everyone was pleased that a new owner was going to clean up that parcel, and I understand that he paid a premium price for that, and the only way he can recoup that investment or make a return on that investment is to get 4 parcels there. Now, it's interesting that one of the things that's added to this, the staff report that's in here, is about parking. And it says that when you look at the plans, they can park 14 cars there.
yeah.
Really?
Well, you got 7th Street to think about.
Well, yeah, but there's only, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Are there any others? There are others, okay.
Members of the Planning Commission and staff. This is going to be the 3rd meeting that I have attended regarding the property at 415 7th Street. I understand how much time and work goes into a decision, into the decision that you have to make on this parcel and the controversy that's involving it. Not just on 7th Street, but it seems to be, it's getting a little bit out of hand. I was a member of the Planning Commission and Historic Resources Board for almost a year and had to resign because of personal reasons. So I do know how difficult it is, especially in an application such as this one. What makes this so difficult is that this lot was approved for division into 4 parcels a few years ago. So now what happens? Is there a process to repeal this decision, or is the city stuck with this decision? I feel strongly that 4 houses should not be built on this lot for so many reasons. How can 4 houses fit? How can anyone have a yard? What about parking? What about a driveway or space for privacy? How much grading has to be done to go as far back on the lots as possible, and what impact will it have on the back fence or the highway easement? Will there be a fence or a wall? We graded 3 levels in our backyard, planted native plants and built a wall with railroad ties and posts filled with concrete so that we would ensure no slippage. This worked well until the 97-98 rains, when a portion of our wall came down and our yard was filled with mud a couple of feet deep. I would like to invite you all to come to my house to see what we have done in our backyard to hopefully keep from this happening again. There's such a slope on that lot that the same thing is going to happen if it's not terraced correctly. 4 houses with 1 driveway going to each property sounds almost impossible. I can just imagine the problem of residents coming and going, especially leaving for work. They will have to post a driveway schedule. What about street parking? There's very little parking on any given day, and weekends there is none. How is this going to be worked out? Adding an additional 4 more houses will certainly create a parking problem, as most people have 2 cars. Where will they all fit? And I also, Cesar and Kathy Flores called me before I left today, and they're both sick. But and I read this to them, and they said their feelings are with me, with John, with other people that haven't bothered to show up yet. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Are there any others?
Donna, of the 3 times that you've spoken, how many times has the applicant been here?
I believe 1 time.
Okay.
Okay, that being said, we'll close the public hearing for this matter at this point in time. And we're still left with the decision that we're going to postpone this until, or continue this until the 20th of
Commissioners-
January, where we will
Commissioners' comments?
yes.
I mean-
Well,
Oh, okay.
but we're still,
Oh, yeah.
I'll come to you in a second.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so we're still pointing in that direction. I have some questions too.
Yeah.
So anyway, that being said, commissioners, comments, opinions.
I want you to really take a look at this project, because what you have up above is, if you have a car in the driveway, you cannot bring the other car out, turn around and come down the hill. There's not enough parking up there. They have 18 by 18 in front of the garage. But you have to cross over the other person's property line to get out of the garage to come down the road. The back is 12 foot, but they're got a cut of 4.5 feet, so the wall right there is going to be roughly about 14, 15 feet in the air behind the house where the fence is now. We need to find out from the state of California how that fence is built and where the property line is. Because maybe that property line might be down the hill 2 feet, 3 feet, because the state don't put them walls right on the line. So we have a lot of problem with this piece of property. I mean, we done a subdivision right below it, 4 houses. The guy had to put $260,000 in street repairs and water lines. This guy's not putting in anything. So look at this project very closely. Drive up there and look at it. It's steep.
I've been up there, yeah.
And
Well, the problem is, and I look forward to the attorney being here, is that apparently in 2006, it was approved for 4 lots. Now,
Right.
is that legal? What do we do at this point?
But the thing is, that wasn't legal when they did it at that point, because legally, the lots were only 7,000 square foot at that time in San Juan Bautista. Now they're legally 5,000 square feet, and these lots are only 3,000 square feet. With the road, there's 4,000 square feet, a little more than 4,000 square feet.
So we need to be sure that the attorney will
Understand.
have done her homework and be prepared to address these points.
Right now, when these lots were split, there were 8,000 feet, the lots. Then they split them. I don't know why they split them, how they did it. And now, our lot size is the minimum is 5,000. These lots are only 4,000 square feet. And they're right. There's no parking. The time you put your garages and driveways, there's no parking in front of these houses. There's no parking up on top of the hill, and they have no yards and no place for landscaping.
Can I make a comment on the sound wall? Real quick, when they put the sound wall in, 12 or 15 years ago, they took on an easement, a maintenance easement, 10 feet onto all of our parcels that abutted that sound wall. Now, I don't know what Caltrans' position is, because I don't even know if the San Antonio Street, if they've approached Caltrans yet about the sound wall, but I don't think Caltrans lets people throw their own sound walls up on their property. So it has to be a coordinated dance, I would imagine, with Caltrans.
Right.
And if they require that same 10-foot construction easement, which means that there can be no permanent structures built within that 10-foot,
And also our back lot adjustment, line adjustment used to be 20 feet. Now we cut it down to 15 feet, and they're going to 12 feet on this. So we're losing 3 feet right there, too.
Yeah.
So everything that's being done on this is not being done right. And I don't know why Roger's doing this.
Couple of notes. I'm sorry. Okay. So couple of notes. First of all, I want to fully disclose. I did meet with Mr. Baez and his realtor. They asked to speak to me. I set up a meeting with Roger, and we had a discussion. It was merely a informational thing. I absolutely want to disclose that so that people understand that, and there's nothing in the back. First of all, this is not a division. It wasn't a division back in the day. It was a lot line adjustment. It was 4 legal lots. 2 of them were fairly large with 2 very small. And for whatever reason in 2006, the Planning Commission at the time allowed a lot line adjustment for there to be 4 approximately 4,000 square foot parcels with a variance. Now, I asked Roger what the variance included. What were the setback variances? What was the coverage variance? What was pertained in that variance? And is it my understanding that that paperwork can't be found?
But this is not true about what you're saying about 4 lots. Here's the original map of 1962.
Uh-huh.
There's only 2 existing lots, right there.
But
1 and 2.
when these got cut, when the highway,
These lots were sold off to the state of California.
my understanding is the complete lots were not.
These lots right here, completely sold off by the state of California bought them.
Then we need to ask the attorney that. My understanding is the 2 smaller lots in the back prior to the lot line adjustment of 2006 were still lots of
Yeah, but,
1,500
okay,
square
so
feet,
that
whatever they
lot
were.
that you have in the back would be exactly 10 feet.
That I don't know.
Well, here's a map of it right here, 1962.
Where does it say 10
Did Roger
feet?
show you this?
This has been in our packet since day one.
Did you ever look at it?
Yeah, I looked at it.
Exactly 2 lots, 1, 2.
Okay. And 8 and 9, which were from the other
They're
side.
gone, them lots are actually gone, they're in the state bottom out.
Okay. Then that's a question we have to have for the attorney.
That's right.
I mean, if that's the case, then we're in a real conundrum.
Because if that's the case, then Donna's got lots there too, she could build more houses behind her house.
I don't know, and I don't know how long other residents have been there. I don't know, I mean, I wasn't here.
We've been there since day one.
You've been there since day one.
Well, since then, she was,
Yeah.
that property had 1 big old house on it and 1 little shack in the back, that's all it had.
I understand
I
that.
was raised up right behind that.
Okay. I'm not, let me make it clear, I'm not for or against anything. I'm trying to find the solution to the problem.
That's right, we
That is
asked
all I'm
twice
trying to
now
do.
have the attorney here, this is the 3rd time we asked for the attorney here.
Right, and if the attorney can't make it on our meeting night,
And if she don't make it next time, what are we gonna do, keep it going down the road?
that's why we're having this special
Yep.
meeting.
Well, anyway, are you
Yeah.
through with your?
No, just a couple more things, just so
Yeah.
we're on this.
Right.
The driveways going to the rear, they're shared, so it's not 4 separate driveway. There's a common driveway with a common easement going up to the back. I totally agreed. However this came about in 2006 is definitely was poor planning, doesn't begin to cover it. If it is indeed 4 lots and that part of it is it is what it is. 7,000 feet or not, there's a variance. What that variance says, I don't know. And until we find out what that answer is,
So all 4 people are gonna own that road going up to there.
no.
Yes, look at it, because you cut the side down and take the road out, you only got 3,500 square feet of land.
For the rear.
If you put the half of the road in it, it comes out to 4,700.
That's not how I see it. That's not how I see it at all. I see it as on this map, lot 26 and 27 as being completely separate, and then lot 28 and 29.
Multiply it and tell you exactly what it is.
Okay, I will do that. Definitely the question, Rudy, maybe you can pass this along to the attorney, is do those parcels include the easement for Caltrans?
The 10-footer?
The 10-foot? Does if that was the case, then how would that have affected the lot line adjustment of 2006?
The road was put in 1956, 55.
A little before my time.
7th Street was?
1956, 57.
7th Street?
There were 4 homes approved in 2007, I think it was.
Really?
4 homes.
This is after the 2006?
After the lot line adjustment, there were 4. Well, the 2 rears were 2 like 2,000 square foot 2-story homes that were approved with plans approved with the planning commission.
My question is,
That
I thought in
since expired.
2006, in 2006, whatever 2 lots or 1 lot was turned into 4 lots.
Right,
In 2006, that was approved.
right.
But there's never,
No.
And
I think the confusion that my understanding, this is where we definitely need the clarification is
in
how it.
2006, a lot line adjustment, variance, and design review permit.
Right.
But they never designed the homes.
Well,
they did.
in 2008,
They each got the plans.
there's an application for one single-family dwelling on Lot 2.
My question is, was there always 4 lots there?
Not always.
That's the question, is if indeed those two the rear lots prior to the 2006 lot line adjustment, if that was part of the 10 feet of Caltrans, effectively what it sounds like the Planning Commission did was allow them a lot line adjustment to Caltrans property.
Yeah.
And that's going to be kind of the crux of how this all goes.
This also was turned down in 2006 because he did not have a correct set of plans or a site plan for drainage or anything. We were at the meeting, me and Tony Brock, that stopped that project.
My understanding, and it very well could be that I misunderstood, is I saw approved plans there that have since expired.
Right. Because
nothing happened.
Right.
Right.
They were turned down.
Yeah, but that doesn't say anything for the lots.
It doesn't say anything
No.
for the lots. The only implication that that could be read off of that is you look at the setbacks, and I mean, one of the corners it's 7.5 feet, and the other corner it's 11 point whatever.
Yeah.
On those, and you know, I wasn't here in 06, so I wasn't at those meetings, but I have to imagine that the only way the Planning Commission would have allowed that stuff to go through or even looked at it was if the variance allowed them to get that close to it. I don't know.
Are you through with your report? Your comments, concerns?
Sure.
Sure.
We just have a lot of questions for the attorney.
Yeah,
that's all.
there's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of dialogue given to me, and I took it in and digested it. And these are some of the questions that came up, and I am still resolved that we absolutely need to be speaking with our attorney. I understand you know, I was also at the city council meeting. I mean, the other thing that we kind of need to discuss is this letter. This letter is getting a little weird.
Yeah, we'll come to that.
Okay.
I want to get with Vonda if she has
Okay.
Well,
questions,
even though
concerns.
apparently the Planning Commission approved a lot line adjustment in 2006, were they right in doing so? Could they do that legally? You know, with Caltrans and the lot line. So.
Okay, and my question is just, I'd like to know what was the thinking behind of going with 4 lots? Why did that happen? When did it happen? And why were they going in that direction? Well, I mean, there must have been an idea that they were going to put something in there if they were going to go that small with the lots. And I want to know when did that happen and what was the thinking behind it? And it doesn't seem like we know why.
Would we have any records of that? Or?
I personally haven't searched for any of the records, but
we can ask the attorney to come up with those answers.
I think from a pure curiosity point of view, I would love to know how this even gets entertained.
Right.
On the other hand, if it turns out that they are indeed 4 legal lots and the setback to Caltrans is there, we will need to deal with the fact that there are 4 legal lots and that there's 4 legal lots. Again, I go back to the comment I made at the last meeting. If this were an open 4,000 square foot lot sitting on 4th Street, would we be sitting here and arguing about, well, yeah, but it's supposed to be 7,000? No, we would say, okay, well, you're going to have to build a smaller home, and it's going to have to conform to this, and this.
Mm-hmm. And it may be legal by San Juan standards, but is it legal by Caltrans?
That to me is the bigger question right now. And then depending on how that's, and that's definitely going to want to be, I mean, that's something that we're going to want to know way ahead of time before that meeting, because...
So we got to ask the attorney, is this a minor subdivision because they put 4 houses?
It's not a subdivision. You're
not
not dividing property. If it's 4 legal lots, then you're building on 4 separate lots. It's not a subdivision. Subdivision is taking a property and dividing
Because
it.
it takes an acre to build 4 houses.
I don't disagree, but
But
Yeah.
Would you get the attorney here and she'll answer the
Yeah.
question?
agreed.
hope.
Okay, that being said, the consensus is we're going to have a special meeting, which is on the 20th, 6 p.m. in this chambers.
And also, we should have the attorney bring all the documents from when they pass this.
Yeah. That's a
Anything the
good,
city's got, we should have it
That's
here.
a-
so we
that's-
can
yeah.
find out how this.
yeah, I'd like to, yeah, the question being asked here is, how did this happen? When did it happen? Why did it happen?
Right.
And what was the thinking behind it, make it,
Because we have a lot for 7,000 square.
yeah. It just doesn't seem like anybody knows, and we need to know.
Because if you got the
And we
map,
can't make a decision on that.
this is the only piece of land in that whole 7th Street that's gonna be this way.
Right. So, I mean, I personally feel those are the questions that need to be answered, and I am forced not to make a decision, period.
And I think also the attorney should check in with the state of California, see if they do have a 10-foot easement.
We don't have
Well,
the
then my-
power. Right now, we don't have the power to make
And
a
my understanding was that they were going to extend that sound wall. I'm sorry?
No, 10-foot easement is with the sound wall. There's no sound wall there now.
Right.
No, they're gonna have to build it. I think the sound wall only goes halfway back behind your house. all the
It
way.
ends at our property.
My understanding through the meeting was that they were going to extend that down and connect it.
Did you build your sound wall, or did Caltrans build
No,
it?
Caltrans built the whole thing.
And so will Caltrans build this sound wall, or is it up to the,
It sounded like he was going to build
right,
it.
yeah.
And they paid us. They paid us $1,200.
Wow.
For the sound.
for the easement.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
They paid you for their easement?
Yeah.
Well, it was already
It was your property, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
West is a cyclone fence.
it's like
Okay.
a contractual agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I don't know. I hope the attorney can do all this by the 20th.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so that being said, we're okay with the consensus, and we're going to have the meeting.
Continue
Now, are there
on
any other
20th.
questions, any other concerns that we need to talk about?
Do we want to put into public record the letter?
The letter that was written? Who wants to read that? Does the staff want to read that?
Clerk, maybe, Trish, do you want to read it?
Is this the letter you're talking about,
Yeah,
about Pat Garrett?
yeah.
I don't have a copy of the letter.
I have a copy of it if staff wants to read it. Or do you have it?
Yeah. I'll do it. Okay. So it's addressed to Commissioner Garrett, and it reads, "We have recently learned that you have been publicly spreading despairing remarks about our land entitlement to our community in public participation of the Planning Commission. These remarks are untrue and malicious and constitute slander against our reputation and credibility. These remarks are documented on the city's website and on the public video. Proof is not difficult to verify. Our credibility and good reputation are the fundamental assets upon which we have built our community, and we treat your attempt to harm us with the utmost seriousness. We demand both cease and desist and retraction of the false, misleading statements publicly. False statements made December 1st, 2015 on video during Planning Commission meeting. Some backdoor payment or relationship with city planner's son is false. The lot certification was somehow illegal is false. That you worked with Tony Bach to actively stop this project during the original entitlement is false. This letter will constitute notice to you that unless you immediately cease and desist from making such remarks and make a public retraction, we will notify our attorneys to institute legal proceedings against you, claiming the full amount of the damages suffered by us. Kindly govern yourself accordingly. Todd Dubois."
Okay, I've read this, and you wanted to bring it to our attention, Eric. What was your question?
No, I thought that it was important that
It go into the public record.
it go into the
I
public
agree.
record.
Okay.
That was,
Yeah, you can blast this all over.
Yeah, I
I
imagine.
know.
Okay. So anything else? Anybody else want to discuss that item, or anybody from the public? Okay. So I think we heard from the public. We've discussed it. We've set a meeting for the 20th. I think this matter is closed for today. So be it. Thank you all for your help. And hopefully we'll get a resolution to all this.
It gets more and more complicated.
Although, if I can make a quick...
Yes.
If you guys have any comments or questions, so I can forward those to the attorney so we could have her research that or get whatever information she needs to on that.
Get that to you as soon as
Right.
possible.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming.
Anything that shed light on this item to formulate a good
Can you tell
decision
Ernest to come
legally,
back?
I would like to hear that.
Were there tapes of those meetings in the day?
I'm sorry,
Were there tapes? I know you record now. Were there recordings of those meetings?
2006?
Yes.
The tapes are no longer available after 3 years. There's
Copy
no
that.
policy.
Okay.
All rise. Oh, no. You're not the judge.
I forgot my wig, that's why you didn't recognize me.
Okay, so they'll start construction next week.
Okay,
Surprise.
where are we now?
Item E,
D.
is it D?
D. Well, D is going to be continued.
Yeah, that's, okay. We completed C and D, now we're going to E. If you should ask.
Okay, C and D, go to E, huh? Let's see.
General plan.
Okay, we have the, consider approving the 2035 general plan documents. This item was continued to the February meeting. So anybody has any comments? I think one of the things we need to do, since it is there, we need to make sure that the public is 100% completely aware of what is happening. And I don't know if you have any thoughts on what we should do, since we have one more month. If we can take action and not just hold up the process. But the thing is, what should we do? Because as soon as it's approved, people are going to wonder where did this come from?
Okay, let's put it in the Mission Village Voice, our next and final meeting. Or to contact anybody at this point with their concerns.
An article, could we get them to write an article?
Who?
The Ankitano and Company?
Well, really the community are the writers.
Oh. That's one thing I thought. I think what the deadline's the 22nd, 23rd. And an article that would kind of summarize everything. We've had bits and parts, but I think something is needed to...
And what's driving that thought? I'm wondering what's driving the thought, because I thought Cal Poly students were behind us and we had it pretty well surveyed out, and you know, I don't know if there's what's driving the thought right now that we need to really get the public involved other than have a public meeting?
Well, the fact that you don't have a lot of people showing. This is just a thought on my part.
Which is a good point, by the way. I'm not trying to...
Yeah, no, it just...
It's just the final,
Yeah.
the city council, we haven't approved it, city council hasn't approved it. It's the last chance for people to speak their mind if they have anything to say.
I'd like to have, 100 people saying, go for it, and send that to city
Well, and
council.
During some of the discussions of some of the workshops that went, is this on? I hope it is. During some of those workshops, there were a lot of comments that people were making that said the 98 general plan, 98 to now general plan was fantastic, and there were a lot of people that said, this is the worst piece of garbage I've ever seen. So I think the more you get it out there, I had asked specifically to be able to read through it. And I hadn't had that point in time, so I had asked for the continuance to read through it for the February meeting. I think it's worth. I wish I had the time to write an article. I just don't. But I think it'd be worth having something so that nobody can come back later. I mean, this is. I keep putting the importance on this because this is the document that that the city is going to be the guideline of the city for the next 20 years, and that's why I think it is such a big deal. It's not anything that I know we're trying to get it through, and I know it's been worked on by a lot of very talented people, but it's also a document that we need to be very sure, or as sure as we can be, that this is something that looks like we have laid out properly, and any questions, comments, or concerns need to be brought out. And even if it's one person who hasn't shown up to any of the workshops, they may have that one thing they want to add. I mean, I know it's just kind of a guideline, and it's not absolutely set in stone, but there have been a lot of single comments that have made it into that document.
So to continue this item to the next meeting, that was decided when?
Last meeting,
Last meeting?
yeah,
And that this would be continued in February?
to February.
To
yeah.
February.
Because there was an
why is
awful
it
lot
on-
of
Why is it on the agenda today?
so that
just
we could
bring it
talk
up.
about it if we
Yeah.
wanted to.
Uh-huh. So it could have been a discussion item rather than an item, action item?
It can't be an action item, but it can be a discussion item if it's there.
That's what I meant. I mean,
Yeah.
It's listed as an action item right now. Is it
And
not?
then there's a resolution too, so
Yeah,
we're not ready
resolution,
to
right.
That's
approve
the
it, yeah.
samples.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a little confused, being I just walked in today.
Yep.
So we can either,
I move that we continue to the February.
You still
meeting.
have to take them, yes.
Yeah.
But, again, I want to entertain the thought, because we want to make it work. I want to make this thing work. Not just the plan, but I want to make it work so that the public is in on it, that it's a serious matter, and we're going to be affected by 20 years. Even though this is a general plan, it isn't marching orders or anything like that, but it is a vision that we've put in place that says this is the direction we're going to be going to. So I'd like to think that we could get more people involved to make sure that this is we're on the right track here. But what is it that we're going to do to make that happen? If in the past that hasn't really happened, you know what I'm saying? We put it in committee, we put it in, and then finally it gets going, and all of a sudden it's done. So what's going to be different this time that's going to bring the people in to make sure we've got everybody on board with it?
about an article on the,
So the article?
When Cal Valley was doing it, didn't they have a lot of meetings with people?
Yeah, we did.
did we ever have a write-up in the Voice? Was there anything?
So
I don't
after
think
all
so.
the meetings, everything was settled, right? Then Cal Valley drew up the whole thing the way they wanted. it.
Right, but we haven't approved it yet.
Wait,
Yeah,
You need to prove it.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, but it's still subject to changes.
Right.
Anything we want to do. My thought was, an article in the Voice would be, the last, hey folks, this is it.
They should have one more hearing on it.
Well, we'll have the hearing in February.
Yeah.
That's February 1st. The Voice comes out probably, February 2nd. Comes out at latest is February 1st, if not sooner,
When does the city have to have it to the state?
when we send it.
I don't think that's on the
So-
strict timeline.
So can we publish, go to the public and say, we've held this for another month so that the public will have another chance to view it and have any concerns to bring forward to our next meeting? Is that the kind of message we want to send out there right now?
I think that the public
clarification?
the public comment section to this has been, that deadline was in July
Yeah.
or July or August.
It was in July.
Yeah. Then it came to strategic plan, and we had several things that we had changed. And now it's up to the planning commission to
Yeah.
read through it and give our recommendation. I think more appropriately, it would just get people to understand that this is what is happening and what is going on. There's not a whole lot, my understanding, the way the process works, that the public comment can change. That meeting was in, when was that one we held at the VFW? With Matt.
That was way back when, yeah.
I think it's a lot about transparency too, just letting people know that
That this
the
is
planning
happening.
commission's going to approve it, and if you have anything to say, now's your last
We do have a
chance.
public comment.
Okay.
Good.
John McCormick?
My name is John McCormick. I have been very active in this community, and I think I show up as many times as you have meetings, maybe at least 50% of them. I attend planning commission meetings, I attend city council meetings, and I've attended some of the workshop for your general plan. I like working in this town. I think the effort you've made in getting this thing was very, very successful from the attendance that I saw, and the enthusiasm I saw with the public. I think it speaks loudly that the public thinks that you did a good job. And if there was controversy, I know controversy must happen. It boils up very quickly. And I'm not clear why you're reluctant to do what you've been asked to do tonight, which is resolve to vote for this action. It's on your meeting agenda as an action item. And I certainly endorse the work that your consultants made. Maybe it's not perfect. Nothing ever is when we deal with human beings. And I just think you need to get on with it and accept the fact that this is not controversial. That the public thinks that, my wife and I think that this is delay for, I don't know why, but it's been scheduled for you to act on it. And I think that you should act on it, discuss it with specific comments. You've had plenty of time to be involved and to say, okay, well, I don't like this or I don't like that. But the public, in 2 meetings now, has said, we think this works. I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The reason, sir, we cannot take action tonight is because we publicly continued it to the February meeting, so that is a given. So action cannot be taken before that.
Well, then why was it on the agenda? I came here specifically for this.
It should have probably been written in a different manner for discussion. Because the item was in case the commissioners wanted to say anything. And like I said, you know, putting an article, say, in the Voice would be, I think, apropos at this time. Say, hey, guys, this is it. We're set up for action at the February meeting. You all come, or if you don't, we'll just presume that you support us.
Well, in a sense, it's like you presume that the public shouldn't like the work you perform. I'm still not clear why it's noticed. It's been in the papers. The public was certainly very engaged in it. But you need to do what you need to do. I'm just here just to try to help your community grow, create opportunities for people here.
Well, someone called to my attention, and I guess I'll share it with Matthew Orbach. The question is, why are cities in Santa Clara not mentioned? I think the discussion was that from the general plan, it sounds like we go to Salinas and Monterey to do our business, when actually, I think most of us go north. We go to Gilroy and beyond. And I don't know where this information came from. Did it come from the workshops? Did the students extrapolate? And apparently, where's the discussion of San Juan Oaks and Del Webb? And the housing for the service industry? I don't even know how we discuss those things at this point, you know? I don't know where to go with this.
My understanding from Matt at the last meeting is that at this level, we can suggest minor revisions to be added to it. And he seemed, as long as it was minor and didn't upset the EIR or anything else, that they could simply be added. This is yet a whole other reason why I wanted to read that thing nose to tail. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm taking a lot of heat for not just passing this thing, but I made it very clear that I want to read that thing front to back so that when I have 5 years down the road, when I have a city council person come up to me and say, boy, you passed that thing, did you even bother reading it? I can sit there and I can go, yep, I sure did. And it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I'd have to not disagree with you, but I've read it. I was part of the process, and I'm completely comfortable with it. And I don't mind discussing it more or extending it another month. I don't have any problems with that. But I felt a little surprised that were you guys waiting for me to make a decision on it, or what? I mean, I know I wasn't here in the last meeting, that kind of a thing, so, but I thought that's what we're going to do today, is to make a decision on it. And quite frankly, I was prepared to vote and approve it.
I think part of another portion of last meeting is symbolically, we wanted to have your vote in that as well. I think that was part of the discussion, but for me, I understand. I haven't read it. And again, I'll stand by my thing. I have not been able to complete that document.
We didn't think that between...
I understand that. I understand, Eric, where you're coming from, what have you. But I think I have to go along with the public opinion here that the city is ready to move on this. And they're looking for us to make that decision. And I'm not worried about waiting another month, but I'm ready to go on this, just to let you know.
Okay.
And it is a general plan. General means it kind of covers everything, but it doesn't specifically say this is. It's more of a vision than a statement. And I think that message is pretty clear from the get-go. The point is that we have hundreds of people that looked at this, and I think with the public opinions today that, yeah, you're right. If you look at the audience, there's no one here concerned about it, and that's why I would feel comfortable voting for it and approving it, is because I share their opinion. So that's the whole town versus waiting for you. So that's my opinion. But that's
okay.
That's okay.
I mean, the reality is, between our last meeting and tonight, there wasn't a lot of time to do much. So another month will be fine.
Okay. So that's it.
You got time to
So recorded, right?
You got time to crank
Mr.
it
Chairman?
I have to do, well, we'll see. We'll talk.
It's an action item, do we have to make a motion on it?
No. It wasn't an action item. It's, like I said, we probably should have had it under a different category.
I think that would have clarified a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just let that one, we'll just by consensus let that one go to where it was going to the next meeting. Okay, discussion items. 1, fencing regulations. We've had discussions about this. I guess staff, can you give us some background?
Yeah. So the current fencing regulations have been discussed at several planning commission meetings going back to February of 2015. Below are the current fence regulations as stated in San Juan Municipal Code, Chapter 10-1, Article 5. Article 500. Fence means any structure forming a physical barrier by means of hedge, wood, mesh, metal, chain, brick, stake, plastic, or other similar materials. Section 10.
So that would include a wall then?
Yeah. 10-1-505, height and location of fences. Fences, walls, and hedges may be located in required yards as follows. A, if not exceeding at any point 6 feet in height above the elevation of the surface ground, at such point may be located in any yard or court except as hereinafter specified. B, if not exceeding at any point 8 feet in height above the elevation of the surface of the ground, at such point they may be located in any required rear yard or side yard, provided that on a corner lot abutting in the rear of the side lot line of another lot in a residential district, no such fence, wall, or hedge within 25 feet of the common lot line shall be closer to the side street lot line than one half the depth of the front yard required on such another lot fronting the side street. C, on a corner lot, a fence or hedge over 4 feet in height above the average crown of adjacent streets shall be not less than 20 feet from the point of the intersection of the street right-of-way of lines, or said lines extended, or less than 10 feet from the said right-of-way at any point. D, where such fence, wall, or hedge is located within the required front yard, it shall not obscure visibility above the height of 3 feet above elevation of the surface ground. The recommendation that staff gives is that the Planning Commission review the San Juan Bautista's current fencing regulations and compare them with the provided regulations from neighboring cities such as Hollister and Gilroy, which again are provided in the attachments.
So at some point, we need to make this an action item.
Well, before we do that, what are we looking for here?
Well, for one thing, I don't see anything discussing the placement near fire hydrants. Everything I've read talks about low fences, low walls,
Fire hydrants are covered under the Uniform Fire Code.
but it's not mentioned here.
It should
I
be,
know.
but yeah, it is presumed to be
Yeah.
covered under the Uniform Fire
I
Code.
mean, it says the use of low fences, walls should be kept as low as possible. Maybe that's too vague. Maybe we need to be more specific, because I think Eric and I are both thinking of a specific case.
So are we saying that we're not comfortable with what we've got now?
Eric, I don't know if you remember the incident on 3rd Street.
Yeah.
This wall
No, I
went
know,
out,
I
lots
know.
of walls.
Yeah.
And the way it went up, something about it was wrong. Either was the process or the fence regulations. Something about it needs to be addressed, and now's the time to decide what that is.
You talk about the stucco wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Great Wall.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't.
It never come through.
It never came through to us.
Fences right now don't have to come to the Planning Commission.
So it's not so much
Yeah.
as our codes and regulations, it's mostly the process itself. Yeah.
I mean, and who puts a fence up before they
Yeah.
build a house?
Right.
That's
And so when I read into ours that we got now, it doesn't really address the process. You know, that
so maybe that's the line we
step by
need to
step, this is
include.
where we got to, it's got to be permitted, it's got to become before the Planning Commission unless it meets other requirements or whatever. That doesn't have to. I don't read anything into that. And that's something to think about.
Yeah,
For the standard fence at one time, it's at only 6 foot in side yards.
right.
Now they got 8.
So that being said, and I'm here. We're here at this point in time. When I read into it, are we supposed to go off somewhere and put this thing together and recommend to staff, or is staff going to go off and do this
Is staff looking for recommendations on an avenue
from
to
us?
take?
Since we brought it up, I think.
I
probably
think
yes,
that's
yeah.
probably what staff is.
So then our issues are the process.
Right.
Yeah, because
And-
currently any type of fencing does not need any type of a permit unless it's higher than whatever is stated in the municipal code.
This is kind of like new construction, except there was no construction. So
Yeah, and I
it just
think
was.
well, and that one, I think they were circumventing several different things. But the question becomes, and I've listened to both sides, is if you build a home and you put a fence in part of your site plan as a front fence, that fence then becomes up for review.
Right.
If you have an open plot of land and all you want to do is throw a fence across it, you can just put that up
Yeah.
as long as it conforms.
Yeah.
And side fences and back fences, I mean, you can brick in your whole lot at this point. And so I think, and I don't necessarily disagree with putting some sort of security style, I don't want to say security fence, but putting something up just to keep people from walking onto the property. But on the other hand, it leaves it wide open for an open plot to build something that they don't think is necessarily going to go up. If it comes up for site review, build it first and then build the property in that section. And that property, which is unfortunately it's right next door, but it's to me the clearest example is the plans that I've seen come in for that particular property requires them to tear down a 20-foot section of that fence to put in an access, driveway access. So they built it knowing that they'd still have to tear out a portion of it because that's how it was. And given whatever the home design was, had they come and said, okay, and we want to build this, I don't know whether it would have passed the site design review or not. I don't know. The fact is that it wasn't even given that chance. So then the question becomes okay, do you then say that all new fences, I'm not talking about replacement fences, because, my neighbor's got a fence and it's falling down, we're going to put it up with similar materials and be done with it.
Yeah.
But if somebody's putting up a new fence, do we then now require everybody who wants to put up a new fence, be it a 3-foot fence in front, or be it somebody who wants to put a back fence between two empty adjacent lots, somebody wants to put up a fence, do we now then require them to have a permit?
Or do we just have clear-cut standards? There's a house on 3rd and North, I think.
That put up a 4-foot fence.
Right.
Right.
Would that's pretty high. Well, that's higher than,
It's higher than 3 feet.
yeah. So,
And it's closer to 20 feet.
The other thing too is you don't want to have to, every time a guy wants to put a fence, tie up the agenda.
right.
Right.
Because that could be messy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of having a standard. Say, hey, no walls in excess of 3 feet.
Yeah.
Other than
But then
Adobe.
there's the enforcement, and that's our,
Enforcement's sorry, you okay there? Enforcement's actually a whole other thing that I believe, you all right up there? Are you sure?
I hit it,
Yeah.
yeah. Huh? You can't breathe into these things.
No. Fix it up. The enforcement portion is actually something that's being worked on right now.
Really?
That's something next Tuesday's meeting with strategic plan will
The
actually be brought up.
strategic planning committee is doing that?
Yeah, I believe it's going to be coming up next Tuesday. Unfortunately, I won't be here for it, and I was hoping to be on that particular committee. But so aside from that, it's you put down the regulations, but how do you get you can put a fence up, but only if you have an existing home and not just an open lot. Well, then it becomes, okay, well, I'm just going to build the home, and after all the permits are done, then I'll put up my whatever. So, you can...
I think if any of this is going to be regulated, if it's a new home, it's a lot that hasn't been developed yet, we can. That's all going to be part of the permit. That's all going to come up before the planning commission.
Not necessarily.
I understand that. I understand that. So, our thinking is such that we have things. That's the point. My thinking is we have things in place to control that so that we know what needs to become before the planning commission versus those things that are not.
so,
Do we? Know, but I think that's the question. We don't have that in place.
we don't
We don't have a direction for staff to say, our city staff to say, okay, this looks like something for a planning commission.
All new construction has to come before planning.
This is what we got to do, but based on our regulations. I think that's what's missing,
Standards.
But then it'd be... Yeah.
right?
You don't have any fence ordinance at all? Not on subdivision or anything?
Just whatever.
Just what's right here.
Just right here.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's in the design guidelines, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For most
Because it-
owners, they put up
So,
a 6-foot fence.
wait a minute, are you saying the design thing covered it?
The design
I'm
guidelines.
just saying, we have a problem, we know we have a problem
Yeah.
because of one of the existing things that currently happened. And either we have regulations in place to control that didn't work, or we just don't have them at all.
We don't have it all.
We don't have...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's where we need to direct staff to help us with that, design that.
Because
So that if it's a new project, this is what you can do while we're approving the permit in the office. And then when they get to certain questions and they're answered the wrong way or the right way, oops, this has to go before the planning commission, historical review board, whatever.
Yeah, this would have been a good case for J.J. Berger if we would have had a fence
Yeah.
ordinance. We wouldn't have been going through all the stuff.
Right.
Say, you're going to fence your fence, you're not going to fence it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Or you have to come to us before you put up a
Right.
fence, yeah.
Well, anything in a historical district should come.
Should come from it.
Yeah.
And you're right.
But that's what you're working on.
Well, but I guess my point is, let's say there's a guy up on 7th Street who's got four parcels and he just wants to throw a 3-foot wall across it.
Yeah. As long as our city department knows that they've met all the requirements within that permit, then we're okay. Because anything else sticks out like a sore thumb, because we have other parts written in there that says, well, this has to come before the planning commission. We can't go forward unless it gets approved through that.
The only odd portion of that would come into it would be where you're trying to fit the neighborhood. And again, that's a portion. If it were new construction, that would be a part of the site review. And I agree. I'm not sure we need every fence coming in, but I'm not sure how you write it to where you give some leeway, but not enough to where someone can either build what they want ahead of time and then do a site and design review for the home, or do a site and design review for the home, build it, sign off, and 6 months later, then build whatever you want.
Yeah.
And that's...
Yeah, because when I read into all this, Hollister, Gilroy, San Juan, I don't see anything in there other than don't make them 6 feet high or 6.
Right.
That's it. That's all that's in there.
So if we want to say, again, I'm with Commissioner Maderos. That's what the whole point of standards are.
Right.
We write the standards, give them to staff. The staff goes down, hey, you're right. You don't want to do this? You go to the planning commission and tell them you don't want to do it.
So
But I think that's our job, is to come up with these standards.
Well, no, and revising the standards...
If we don't want chain link fence, you say no chain link fences. If you don't want adobe, you say no adobe. And you leave other things that can be put in there. You get some people who are very creative. You got artists, who crank out all that kind of stuff. I've got one up near me. It was just a messy rock thing, and this guy came through, and it's beautiful, perfectly flat. All the rocks fit in there. Do we want rock walls? Yeah, I think it looks great.
Yeah.
You got Carmel chalk, shale. We call it chalk rock or something.
So the question, part of the question then becomes is, if it's not going to come to, then should it be something that needs to be permitted, and not necessarily come to...
No, they're going to have to ask. They're going to have to ask about putting up a fence. But the thing is, staff has a sheet that says, "Okay, no chain link, no adobe, no this, no that. Here's the height you can do it."
You can do your fence.
If you do it before the house, you come to the planning commission. If you do it with the house, you do it at the same time.
See, I think Roger was working with these people, though. I think he knew what was going on.
Well, they gave permission for the 30.
Yeah, there was no... I don't think there was anything...
There's nothing in the code.
Per the municipal code, there was nothing done wrong on 3rd Street. And that's how this discussion comes about.
Except for the fire hydrant.
The fire hydrant's an enforcement issue, and my understanding is that the fire chief said he didn't think it would be a big deal. And I would beg to differ when my house is on fire and they can't get the guy behind it with a wrench.
Well, we told them that they would have to take that little section of fence out and go back in, but they never did.
When he builds next.
Nobody follows up on that.
See, that's the other thing too, is the enforcement. We should not be putting in regulations based on whether it's enforced or not. We should put in the regulations, do the right thing, and then expect the council to do the right thing. But I say, just because it's not being enforced, I don't want to say, well, we're going to lower our standards because no one's going to get out there. I say, put those standards up, and if some of the citizens really get uptight, they're going to hit that council hard. And that's the way it should be.
So how do we proceed?
What kind of fences do you not want?
Eric, so what is the strategic planning committee doing? What is the answer to their solution here?
We're just going to be looking into what we might be able to do as far as enforcement throughout the city. And I'll leave it at that.
Enforcing what? You don't have no rules.
I'm sorry?
You don't have no fence rules.
More general than just fencing. This is not like
the whole
everything, not just fencing. It's municipal codes and
They need to do a fundraising.
That's a tall order. But anyway.
But granted, that has been one of the big problems, is enforcement, and we saw that most with the sign code. And again, we
Still
did the
do.
right thing. We gave them a sign code that worked, that was wide open, that everybody was available to work with it. We did our job.
So what do we do with this?
So I guess the question is what the city staff, have we given any direction? Do you need more? Do you,
Well,
is it coming up with more design details or guidelines?
I don't think they
Well,
worked on it.
I'd like to know if there was something that we could agree on that says that we give our city staff assistance in that making decisions to help them understand what really needs to come before us.
Okay.
And I don't know what else we could put in there, but I mean, what is it in our fencing that we need to put in there? It says, oh, this has to be, we need to discuss this at least with the planning commission, if not the historical review board. Some kind of language in there. I mean, are you ever faced, people come and ask, they're going to make a permit. They write up a permit, show it to you, this is what we want to do. And based on that, you make decisions to approve it. And also you make decisions, well, this is something for the review board, this is something for the planning commission.
right. Well, when it comes to fencing, I personally don't think it's it's pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the standards are the standards. However, I do hear from you guys that there are some material types that you are not in favor of, and possibly placement of fencing, which maybe we could create some type of a language and add that into the ordinance. But from previous work experience, when I was working in the city of Porterville, we provided fencing materials that were usable and some fencing materials that were not usable. And, for example, like on 3rd Street, you probably don't want any chain link fencing down there. So, we could set that standard up. And we don't need any detailed plans as to what type of fencing they're going to use. Rather, they could just come tell us, and then we could go out and inspect it on our own and see if it's okay or if it's not.
So is then the suggestion to make a fence permit that they would have to apply for?
Well,
So that you or city staff would run by and...
Right. Well, I think for the front yard fence, I don't know if we have it in here, but I think maybe an encroachment permit would be necessary, depending on how far back the city...
Only if it's on city property.
Right.
And automatically, you wouldn't let them do that. 6 foot in the front, I don't think anybody has that.
Most of your fences are 3 foot in the front.
Yeah.
6 foot on the side.
The corners
Yeah.
are an issue,
Yeah.
for sure. I've got a 6 foot fence, but it's, I think, 30, almost 40 feet
I think
back.
on a corner lot, you gotta be back 25 feet.
Yeah, it says in here 20.
Start
Yeah.
to 6 foot.
And that's
I don't
just
think
that's
they
just
should
for
go
line
up-
of sight.
I don't think they should go above 6 feet. 8 feet's pretty high.
Yeah. Now, when you get to 8 feet, it becomes a structure,
Yeah.
and then it does need a building permit, and maybe even engineering to go with it.
Right.
So I think what we're dealing with is if there's certain kinds of materials we don't want used, that's what we want to say. I think we have real tight regulations in the historic district. You've got the guidelines, and nothing goes up there that doesn't go through us, and that should be real clear.
Yeah, you
Well,
got block walls, lump walls, concrete walls.
The problem is the fences that go up without a house. When there's a house, there's going to be design review. When there's no house going up,
Now, let's ask a question. What is really wrong with having a fence up there before the house is put up? It could be ornamental, it could be decorative,
Well,
hide some.
you can't do that. What if you got 6 or 7 lots in there?
well, we're talking, specifically, we're talking about the house, the lot on 3rd Street. In fact, didn't he come for a lot line adjustment?
He come to build.
He come to divide one.
And it didn't happen?
Before I was on the planning commission, but no, it did not
Yeah.
happen.
So it could have been
My
discussed.
understanding, it's still on his radar, but
Yeah.
he's put it on hold for the
Yeah.
moment. And using that as an example, aside from the fact that I don't like the material, that's not my more bigger issue with that fence. My more bigger issue with that fence, again, merely as an example, not discussing that specific one, but as the example is, the fence is 36, but then you've got, you know, let's take the property next door by chance. It's got this cute little white picket fence, and it's a white picket fence with 4x4 posts that come up another 4 or 5 inches above. And I don't think anybody finds issue with similar, I mean, you find those throughout the city. Where the example of the one at the end of 3rd Street becomes into play is they're using a 16 by 16 as their post that is now sitting 8 inches above that fence. And so now as you get, maybe not necessarily straight on, but as you get at an angle, it now looks like you've got a fence or a wall that is now almost 48 inches high, versus when you look down a white picket fence, you've just got a couple of 4x4s coming up here and there. So I think there needs to be some guidelines for if you're going to do a wall, you know, and this is one of the things that I had discussed with Chris, was coming up with the, okay, if you have an air gap, you can come up 36, and your post spaced at approximately 8-foot levels can come up another, call it 4, you know, a 4x4, maximum of 4x4 can come up 4 inches above that 36. If you're going to have something that has, you know, call it anything under 20% gap, air gap, 36 is your limit, period. No pillars, no anything above it, so that you're not creating this larger structure. And that's where, I mean, the question had been brought up, well, what's the difference between a fence and a wall? Or what's the big deal between a fence and a wall? Well, it's not a big deal unless you've got 16 by 16. And that, again, aside from the fact that I don't like the materials, which quite honestly wasn't my bigger issue. I mean, I think it's hideous, but that's my personal opinion. My problem isn't necessarily with the wall. My problem is with the fact that where my picket fence has a 4x4 that sits that far above.
Picket fences on either side of it.
Right. And then you've got these 16 by 16 rock pillars. And so I think that needs to be put into a guideline that just says, okay, if you're going to have a wall that's got less than 20% air gap, your pillar size is 36. If you're going to have a fence with, call it 50% air gap or more, whatever we come up with, it's no larger than a 4x4 at approximately 8-foot settings that come up. And I say approximate because you're going to get to the end, you're not going to be exactly 6. It's going to be, you know. But you come up with some type of guideline there, because it's not going to be intrusive having a 4x4 up versus a 16 by 16 sitting up a certain height. Now, whether that then comes in front of, whether that's just a simple permit where you can literally just doodle a drawing or have a picture of an example, which I think in most cases would do just fine. I mean, wouldn't, hey, this is an example of what I want to do, and you're kind of going, oh, okay, let me swing by and take a look. Yeah, okay, I see what you're trying to do here. Here's your permit for $35, whatever it is, build your fence.
Right.
I think that's where we need to, because the question came up, fences versus wall versus whatever. And then I think even though the Uniform Fire Code is very specific about 36 inch, I think that we should double it on top of it and put it right in here. 36 inches is 36 inches, period.
So why don't you come up with some language that we could insert?
Okay.
Does Hollister have a fence code?
Yeah.
It's
That's it right there.
Yeah. I was going to recommend, you know, take the best out of everything out of Gilroy and Hollister and put it in ours if that's going to help us get to our point. But that's my recommendation, and then bring it before us and see if that's going to work.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to write that up. I'll be honest. January for me right now is just, it's beyond packed. I won't be able. I mean, we're not in a gigantic hurry.
Yeah.
I'm looking more like March-ish.
Yeah.
And as I get closer and start having a little more time, I'll just
So then
let
let's
you know
table
when
it until you're ready to present it.
Tell you what, let's table it.
Okay.
There's a difference between table and continuance.
Okay.
So this basically is put on the table until you tell us to bring it back up.
And what I may do, Rudy, if it works with you, is as my time becomes more available down the road, maybe you and I can just sit down for an hour or so and just come up with some ideas, and you can come up with whereases and therefores, and I can be like, yeah, that's cool.
Because these things can get really messy, you know. You got good neighbor fences, whatever that is,
Yeah.
you know, back and forth. I think one of the concepts I think we need is harmony in the neighborhood.
Yes.
And I don't have a fence, but I think I have like a 2-foot concrete wall there because that's what levels off the lot.
Sure.
So that's a whole different concept.
When elevation comes into it, how do you deal with?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
take the
don't
higher side.
mind things being different as long as it enhances the whole neighborhood.
Right.
It doesn't stick out and say, I'm different and all this other stuff, which is fine.
Sure.
But you can say I'm different and still, would you upgrade the whole neighborhood?
I mean, Mr.
And I don't think that wall says that.
Well, no, it doesn't. But I mean, as Mr. Ponce said 8-9 months ago, when actually it was a year ago when this came before the Planning Commission, when I kind of said, boy, it really should kind of conform to the rest of the neighborhood, and he brought up a really good point. Well, yeah, but we also want diversity. And he's right. To a point, we want diversity. We certainly don't, if we're trying to create harmony, which I think is the perfect word to use, harmony, then there needs to be something with that. And that's where I think if we can get these guidelines set out so that city staff can kind of go out and go, well,
It's not harmonizing, we need
not
blend,
harmonizing.
Let's
And
bring
then
it-
at that point, if they say,
let's bring it to the
why
planning
don't you bring, then at that point, they can make the decision, maybe this
Yeah.
needs to come to the planning commission, and maybe you
Exactly.
need to discuss it with them at an informal review.
Yeah.
Staff shouldn't have to argue with these people,
Yeah.
with anybody.
Eric, that's a good point you need to carry forward as your focal point. Is harmonizing everything so that...
I've got it written down right here.
That, yeah.
I heard it from a wise guy.
Yeah.
Not a wise guy, but a wise guy.
Something that drives us to do the right thing.
Right.
Okay.
Not that we don't want something different, it's just that,
It's got to work.
is it different and it still works? I mean, I don't mind any surprises. Sometimes surprises are great. But that kind of a surprise is like, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
It just begets something else. It doesn't say I want to be a part of the neighborhood. It
It's
doesn't
like,
say I want to be a
stay
part
away.
of the town or whatever.
Says I'm going to do it my way.
I'm going to do it my way, see you later, because
Right.
maybe I have something another hidden agenda
And
that,
that it was approved by the city manager.
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Oh, different subject.
We'll cover
Another
that next
regulation
month.
of that one.
We'll cover that
All I'm
next
saying, it was
month.
approved and he issued a permit.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the issue.
That's my point. I
Same
mean,
thing with JJ Burgers.
yeah, but we don't have a dialogue to get back with staff and say, you shouldn't have done that because you violated something. We don't have that. We don't have that.
Well, in the
we
downtown
don't have that,
district,
written.
yeah, it is. In the downtown historic district, things should
I
not go up.
don't mind. We depend on your expertise, but at the same time, it has to serve the city's purpose. And what is that?
The general plan.
Time is
Yeah,
money.
general plan. There you go.
And all the ancillary items to it.
Anyway.
One of those is design
Okay.
guidelines. Okay, so that item is
We're
tabled.
close. Back to the general plan. Thanks.
7B, brewery update, staff.
Okay, so the current status of the brewery project is that the property is being appraised. The appraiser stated that the appraisal was being performed for potential interested parties in the property. However, Mr. Hipólito Cerda mentioned that the appraisal is being conducted so he can't financially accommodate his personal matters. Mr. Cerda has expressed that he has interest in finishing the brewery and the structure behind the brewery, and he has plans to resume later on this month. Staff intends to meet with Mr. Cerda prior to the resumption of the project, and in one of the attachments, staff has created a checklist for Mr. Cerda that was given to him, I want to say probably in about August or September, and this was a checklist for him to accomplish before we give him the permits to the back structure.
I just wonder if the city should put up cyclone fencing in front of the building again, because from the public sidewalk, there's a huge gap there that somebody could fall into, and who has the responsibility or the liability there?
You'd lose the whole property then.
I would suggest that the city put a cyclone fence around the whole property. And don't let anybody park in it, because the more you drive on it, the worse it's gonna get. Even though it's compacted right now, it's gonna start doing this. And the more
Especially
people
with the
park
rain.
on there, the parking
Yeah.
lot's gonna go to hell, you're
Yeah.
gonna do it all over.
The rain's going to help that damage too.
Yeah, for safety reasons and for insurance
Yeah.
reasons, that property should be
Closed
fenced
off.
off and shut down.
Yeah.
Because right now it's a mess. Like she said,
Yeah.
somebody could fall in that big ditch and dug it inside. And he doesn't have the ramps on the building yet. So somebody get up on the stairs, fall off of there,
Yep.
see, you never see.
I mean, we're doing him a favor by saying all these things.
But it should be the city that forces that issue. Put a
Yeah.
cyclone fence around the whole property, shut the parking lot down.
First and foremost.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me about shutting down the whole parking lot, I mean, I understand that it could be damaged and it will be damaged due to it's not paved, but you know, what about the patrons for JJ's Burgers? Where are they gonna?
One thing, you don't have no lighting in there. That night somebody's gonna trip,
Right.
fall down, the lights don't work. The city's responsible for this because they're responsible to have all this stuff done if it's not getting done.
Makes it an attractive nuisance.
Yeah, I think something has to be done.
Did you ever get work with the city attorney on this one?
We haven't got anything, but we did put a stop work notice on the project because pretty much nothing was being done for a couple of months there.
So you formalized it.
Yeah, so we have that stop work notice as of right now, and I know that there might be some fees or something that Mr. Serta might have to
Did he
pay prior to.
Did he straighten out his performance bond?
I'm not quite sure with that as of yet, but I know that might be one of those fees that he has to.
I don't know why the fence was ever taken down. I mean, it shouldn't have come down till they were
It
done.
never came down to the
Yeah,
construction. But I
Yeah.
think from now on, when we do a project, we have to give them a timeline.
yeah.
We give them a year, and if it's not done in a year, they get fined or something. All depends on the size of the project.
I know the way it works when we do permits. I know Milpitas is a real stickler. Is if you don't have activity, sizable activity every 6 months, you have to come back to ask for an extension. And if you don't have a good reason as to why you need that extension, and maybe that's something we need to look into, is adding some clause in there that says you've got to progress on this, but if it stays inactive for X amount of time, without you can certainly come back for an extension. But if you don't have a good reason for it, I mean, I've had a couple projects shut down because our
Did he
customers.
put a bond up?
Was that?
Did he put a bond up?
I'm not for certain on any of those.
Use that bond that paid the property.
He was supposed to
He
have
was
done that.
supposed to, yeah.
That should have been part of the
Yeah.
permit process.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was
We
that.
talked about that before it was approved, by getting a performance bond just
Yeah.
in case.
Just for that.
I think it was Mr. Serta did get the performance bond, but I think it's outstanding at this moment.
See, they have an issue too with PG&E. They haven't even hooked up the power from the poles into the property to get over to the other properties.
The thing that worries me most is without lighting in that back, they've got those things coming out of the road there that are just, I mean, I've almost hit them myself.
Dangerous.
It's dangerous, yeah. And the cones move, kids move them, or they
Yeah.
get run
That's why I
over.
suggest that we
A
put
barrier.
a cyclone fence in there.
If we put a cyclone fence, would it be okay to allow some parking for JJ?
I would suggest if we only just allow the JJ
The only trouble with
entrance.
that, if we get a lot of rain,
Yeah.
the parking lot's gonna go.
We're gonna get a lot of rain.
And if you drive on, the more you drive on, it's gonna start working the mud up on it.
Yeah, no, I know where you're going with that. I just, the JJ thing is, I mean, the guy's got a business.
He does, but his landlord is also the owner of the same
No, I
property.
know, I know that part.
It's not an easy thing.
Maybe take part of that bond money and just pave up to JJ's
Yeah,
portion of it.
That's
Leave
what-
the other
yeah, that would
portion
do it.
and fence it off.
And then put a fence.
Or the city pays it
Yeah.
and take it out of him.
cover JJ's side of it so that we can still park there,
Yeah.
or something. Something has to be done to prevent further damage to the property.
Is that hydrant working or is it shut down? I heard they had leaks.
To be honest,
You
I'm
need to
not
check that
sure.
fire hydrant, make sure that's working.
Yeah,
That's on the property.
so our decision today would be for staff to go ahead and look at the feasibility of putting in a cyclone fence because of safety purposes
Yeah.
and further damage to the property, with the exception that go ahead and see if they can't pave portions of it for JJ's.
Yeah.
and check
Makes
everything
sense.
for safety and get that corrected.
Is that something we have the authority to do, or is that something we have to recommend?
We should-
We're-
we
we
should
gotta ask,
permit-
our staff.
We issued the permit.
Staff,
We issued the permit.
Oh, okay.
So we just want to see the enforcement. See, this is the enforcement. If you can get the city attorney to check on, or whoever got that bond, and we can tell him, if we could give him a drop deadline, a drop dead date, either fix it or we're going to call that thing out and have it done. I mean, we could have the whole building finished.
Right.
And, I don't know what it's going to cost him, but if he hasn't been paying his bond fees.
Let's start with safety first, as far as that goes,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's some danger there.
Yeah, public health, safety, and general welfare.
electricity, too.
Yeah.
That's the police power of the city. Public health, safety, and general welfare. Okay.
Okay.
You need more direction than that? You tell us. We'll get what you need.
No, I think that's fine, and like I said, we are supposed to meet with Mr. Serta pretty soon here because he has expressed interest. But I think that I feel the same as you that we need to address the safety issues in that property there. But I also do feel that we need to accommodate JJ's Burgers with some parking spaces for his business, because I see sometimes at night when I'm driving home, was it Mariposa's?
Well,
little
like I said, even parking there, so God has to.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. So.
Now,
I've never done it.
okay. Okay, so that will just refer to staff then. Okay, next item is a noise ordinance. Apparently we do not have adequate noise ordinance.
Okay.
It is noise ordinance, yeah. Where did I lose the noise ordinance to? Where did I lose the noise ordinance to? You got anything on that?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
here we go.
Okay,
Mine's
so-
on it. I dropped this thing, so.
All right, so the discussion regarding the implementation of a citywide noise ordinance has been ongoing. Currently, Chapter 11-04 of the San Juan Bautista Municipal Code has minimal language and regulation regarding noise. There have been various amounts of research that have been conducted for formulating the language for the citywide noise ordinance. Noise ordinances from the following cities: City of Hollister, City of Gilroy, City of San Luis Obispo, City of Capitola, City of Palo Alto, and City of Porterville, along with the California Vehicular Code, were studied and reviewed. Over the years, there has been numerous complaints regarding the various types of noises causing public nuisances due to excessive nature and or during inappropriate times. Staff has found it difficult to determine what is or can be considered appropriate or deemed violations in regard to the noise. Staff feels that proposed language for the noise ordinance will provide a much better mechanism for regulating various types of noises, activities that generate noise, and set times in which noise is allowed and not allowed. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the proposed noise ordinance, add or amend as needed to provide a sustainable noise ordinance. Once finalized, the Planning Commission will make appropriate recommendation for implementation to the City Council to incorporate into the San Juan Bautista Municipal Code. So Exhibit A is full of recommendations that have been picked from various other cities to accommodate our whatever we're trying to do with the noise ordinance here.
Probably enforce the law.
Yeah.
Who's going to enforce it?
No person shall operate any leaf blowers on Sundays and holidays.
Oh, no.
If I could ban leaf blowers, I would.
Even electric ones?
I tried it to another city, and I couldn't get to step one.
I do like that this includes holidays, because most of our conditions of approval say it stipulate the hours of the week and Saturdays and Sundays, but they don't say holidays, so that's important.
Is there any wording, I haven't been able to read through this, is there any wording in here that says, let's say, for instance, there were a timing issue to where, is there any stipulation to go get a variance against this? In other words, you had to pour concrete on a Sunday because of weather, and it's the only open window for the next whatever. Is there any stipulation in here that allows that?
I have not seen anything like that. In what we have proposed here, I do see that there are set times Monday through Friday and on Saturday,
right,
and not allowing it on Sunday. And I have seen this common theme, I guess we could say, in other cities where Monday through Friday you got certain times. Saturday it's a little bit more flexible, meaning that they start a little bit later than they do during the week, and on Sundays no construction or well, this is just pertaining to construction.
Sure.
So
okay, I just would think if there were some special circumstance that I can't even think what it is. I mean, you probably have more.
Construction job, we'd have to pull up a bid if we were going to pull on Sunday.
Right.
And maybe have to verify her there.
Yeah, and that's what I guess what I'm asking for is should we write in some sort of provision that they have to get be it a special permit or a special variance or something, and don't make it just, hey, I got to do it on Sunday, because, have them have to jump through a few hoops, be it
right,
a $400 permit, a $200 permit, make it something that if it really has to get done, then okay. Right.
Right. I don't know if we should include that type of language in there, because then it would give the developers or construction folks, I guess not a loophole, but it'll give them an extra day. They say, well, we'll just pay for the extra permit if we could do it. I think it should be more on a situational basis.
Hey, at $3,000, it might be worth it to the city.
No, yeah, I agree. But then, there's going to be other folks that come down, or other developers that come down the line and say, well, we have the money to pay for the special fund.
I understand.
We only apply for these during the rainy season.
Right.
You got all your ditches open and stuff.
Right. Well, that I was thinking is if for some reason your weather window was such that you had 3 dry days and Sunday was the start of that dry day, and you had to get the concrete so it would sit up enough before the next rain. I mean, that'd be the only thing I'd see. And so I don't know if we need to. It might behoove us to have some sort of language, but I mean, have the wording extenuating circumstances.
Extenuating.
Thank you. Whew.
Because national selection works around the clock.
Yeah, I know.
Money talks.
Yeah.
We've got all kinds of noise here. Part of the enforcement is going to have to be getting the appropriate equipment to measure.
Yeah.
Right.
Do we have this? Do we have?
I believe Roger's currently working on getting one of the decibel meters.
Okay.
Because I know when I spoke with the sheriff regarding vehicle noise, their comment was, we'd love to enforce it, but we don't have those on our vehicles. If the city'd like to buy us the calibrated unit, then by all means, we'd be more than happy to use it. And it's like, oh, you don't already have one. Got it.
They're never here.
Well, if you read it on Facebook, they're never here. Right? Yeah, sure.
The only thing I maybe I didn't see it here on leaf blowers. It says no person shall operate. This is on page 3.
On Sundays
number
and
1
holidays.
item is no person shall operate any leaf blower. I'm assuming these are gas powered, or also electric blowers.
Well,
is there a difference? I mean,
yeah, as far as the noise goes.
Yeah, the gas powered has a louder decibels.
It's governed by a muffler, but I'm not saying that. I think the electrical ones are okay, right? So you're not saying all leaf blowers. You're just saying gas powered.
yes, the reason I ask is didn't know you had two kinds. So
Oh, sure.
I have
Electric
electric
or gas?
I've only heard the noisy ones, and like the guys have to have the Mickey
Yeah,
Mouse ears.
the gas ones, yeah.
I've got an electric one. I mean,
So I
it's
would
noisy
say
now.
gas powered only, right? Is that what we're after? Or do they have noisy electric ones?
Well, this would cover it in case you do. We just we
Leave it that way then,
stand 25 feet away with your meter. You know, hey,
because I use an electric one and I haven't had any complaints yet.
I heard you last Sunday at 9:30. I'm just letting you know that was a little early for me.
On Sunday? Never on Sunday.
I'm gonna have my radar open on that street over there.
Yep.
Okay. That was the
okay.
only, and then there was a, let's see.
So do we want to?
Oh, why do you have, or is this example that you're showing is just an example? Because it has the city of Porterville in here.
Right, yeah, we just, some of this research has started off with Matt Leal, and I incorporated some other language in there from the city of Porterville to accommodate noises from, I guess, events that some of these restaurants do have, because there has been numerous complaints in regards to a cutoff time for music.
Outdoor. That's an important one because you got residential, and then you've got some people like rock music that's above and beyond.
Right.
Yeah. So this would give them the right to call the sheriff and say, "Hey, close them down," if he has the equipment.
You have to be
Yeah.
real careful with this kind of stuff because a lot of these businesses are going out of business because of this stuff.
Right.
But they can't
Roger told me
stay.
The other day, we're losing almost 65% of our revenue right out because of sales tax.
Because of what?
We got a lot of
Oh,
empty
sales
buildings
tax.
in San Juan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, that shouldn't give somebody the right to destroy the
Well,
ambiance of the
A lot
city.
of business has been in business before these houses were built.
That's true. If you live near a restaurant, that's what it's going to be like.
I mean, that's how these businesses survive.
How noisy would you let them go, though? See, that's the other question.
Well, sorry, I'm interrupting, but from my previous experience, I worked with a restaurant that was getting their ABC license, wanted to get a conditional use permit amendment to allow use of their back patio area, which was also adjacent to residential units, and we came with some conditions to accommodate special events on Friday and Saturday only. And Monday through Friday, I believe the cutoff time for music was at 9, and on Fridays and Saturdays it was at 11. But with the restriction that the music had to be recorded, so it had to be through DJ, and it had to be at a suitable level where it didn't disrupt or cause any nuisances to the residential units or the citizens back there, and also no instruments, because that's where a lot of the noise comes from, is from the live instruments. So I feel as long as we place those types of conditions or regulations to such places like that, I think it'll be able to accommodate both them and the folks around them.
This is the kind of stuff you want to have as your policy.
Yeah.
So do we have any recommendation to amend or to add? Or do we want to have staff go forward with this to bring it back for implementation?
Refine it. And
I like the idea of what they're doing.
I do too. I mean,
No, I think
looks
it's-
good right now.
And if we need to have special workshops, that way we get the businesses and any type of developers involved, and also putting their input into this. That
The
way,
people affected by the ordinance. Yeah. I can live with that. I think that's noise affects. I've only dealt with airport noise, but it affects people's deep sleep, and that leads to an awful lot of. I didn't see records, but they talked about marital disruption, divorce rates, etc., because people just it affects them, and they start acting weird. And when you have 120 decibels from a plane going overhead or something. See, in Monterey Airport, It came in after the major developments were there. But everybody's still complaining about the noise. And you can kill an airport. But in this case, I don't want to kill the businesses, but then I don't want to have the neighbors being shipped off to Garden Pavilion with the psych unit.
They'll be subject to affluenza?
Yeah. Oh, let's not even go there.
One of those kind of things.
Why? Because the noise. I just had to burn the house down. I don't know.
It's time he learned.
Okay, Rudy, what do you want us to, what can we give you on this to help? You wanted to have a workshop or something, or is that what you're looking for?
If that's what you guys feel is suitable, I mean, I personally would suggest that way, businesses and developers and, folks from the city or the community can also,
Would you be, okay, now would you be ready, would you want it included in a meeting? Have item,
The special meeting?
in the special meeting?
no, well, how about regular meeting?
Oh, sure.
Or, and then if it required a special meeting after that, if you got enough controversy or people
Yeah,
want to
because
get
the
into
merchants
detail.
won't come to a meeting, probably.
See, then that's what we have to get Mr. Ponce to represent whoever, the San Juan Committee, the merchant group, and whatever.
Yeah.
But that would give them a chance because we are regulating them.
Yes.
Just like the
Right.
sign code regulated the businesses,
Right.
this regulates the businesses again. They're
Yeah.
the ones making the noise. Unless you have a bunch of kids have a party and that can get out of hand. Where my neighbors, they called me and said, hey, we're going to have a big party of you, just wanted to let you know. Then I heard this, the other on I heard the sirens, and it got out of hand.
So are we going to have a special workshop, or are we going to have just a part of another meeting?
See,
Invite the public to...
how about a public discussion? It's not an action item because we're still
Right.
in the study.
Right.
So why don't you just call it a workshop to discuss, and we'll set maybe 10, 15 minutes to minimum.
But it'll be at one of our regular
Meetings. And then from there, we can determine whether we want to go for a special meeting.
Whether we have enough interest of people.
Yeah.
With the public input.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
Right.
be good.
Special meeting if needed.
Yeah.
But this first one will tell us, like you said, if nobody
Yeah.
shows up, let's just presume they...
So
we're
put it
doing
on the
right thing.
agenda for next meeting as
want
a
one or 2
discussion
months?
item with the public.
How much time do you want? Because I know you guys not exactly sitting around doing nothing.
Well, being with whatever we have provided here with Matt Leal's research and with my research, I mean, if we want to bring it up to this next meeting, that'd be fine with me.
You ready? Okay. My thought is, if you're not ready, we'll go to March.
Yeah.
No, I do a good job.
Well, we need discussion and dialogue to make sure we're on the right direction, especially with the public,
Yeah.
and if not the merchants.
Yeah, this could affect a few people out there.
Yeah.
So maybe at the next meeting we can determine whether we need to further reach out to the public if we don't get enough feedback.
Let's call it a discussion item. Give us
Yeah.
as much as you got,
Yeah.
and we'll make sure that it gets out. And then.
And
from
who
there-
specifically are we talking about? Like Hardina's and Bear Hideaway?
Well, when
Or-
it comes to the special events, I have had a couple of complaints in regards to Hardines, and it's hard for me to validate what is a violation and what's not, because we don't have any set standards for noise. We only have what a decibel meter reads, and unfortunately we don't have one here, so therefore I can't make any judgments on that. But I don't want to be too stringent and say, okay, we're only for the residents and not for the businesses, because Hardina's does make their money on their weddings, and I feel that it being appropriate for them to on Fridays and Saturdays to go at least to 11, because normally that's what other outdoor events do. So, but I mean, it's all purely up for discussion, and at the discretion of the folks that come. So,
Well, I'm sure other people are affected. If you're getting a few comments, there's other people
Yeah.
just putting up with it. They shouldn't have to put up with it. So yeah, okay, let's bring it up. If, from there, if this gets controversial, it's good. We'll have a special meeting or a special workshop offsite. And if it doesn't, we'll just keep going like we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay? And have Roger look into the cost of a new machine,
Yeah.
because if there's no point in adopting, making any changes without it,
Right.
because you can't even tell whether you need to enforce it or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Sound good? Okay, that one goes to staff. Consider adopting rules and regulations for home occupation business permits. Apparently, we don't have enough. Oh, just give us in general,
Okay.
just off the cuff.
So,
what's happening?
we've been faced with a couple difficult decisions when it comes to home occupations, purely because we don't have any language or any type of rules or regulations in regards to home occupation in the municipal code. And that makes it difficult for us to determine what is a feasible home occupation, what is a proper home occupation, and what isn't. So I've drafted some rules and regulations along with a drafted permit application of what a home occupation permit would be and what we would allow within those rules and regulations.
Okay.
I kind of don't like the phrase home occupation because it sounds like occupying the home. Could it be home business permit?
Well, we could put a home business, but
It's like taking over a home.
Yeah.
right,
Or federal buildings.
Yeah.
Occupation.
Or a wildlife
Yeah.
facility.
right. But I looked at several other cities' home occupation permit,
Is that what they
and
use?
that's the wording
Usually
that
the
they
term
use.
used, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been used historically.
So I wonder, why do we want to do this?
Because first of all, you get some very interesting home occupations. I had a guy who wanted to have gun sales.
Oh.
And what does that take, you
Yeah.
know? Barricades around everything. I had the guy who wanted to have, he wanted to transport bodies to the deceased. Stick them in the back of the pickup, and drive north and south. Well, overnight, they stay in the driveway. That can be an issue. I guess we don't have to worry about medicinal herbs. But, yeah, this is, I think it's staff should have a list of, this is what you can do, and if you want to go beyond that, the Planning Commission. Remember, the Planning Commission is the interpreter of all this stuff, so don't ever worry about arguing with the guys that say, hey, we'll put you on the next agenda.
So if somebody wants to do taxes out of their home, they'd have to get a permit?
That's business,
Yeah.
yeah. Because there's taxes, business taxes.
But not daycare?
No, daycare as well.
It is broken, huh? Great.
Who's gonna enforce it?
Well, we could enforce it because we would require them to get the home occupation permit, and they also have to get the business license because they're doing business out of the city of San Juan Bautista.
See, your fire department should know that something's happening over there. Your police department should know, because if you have something that's in the house, when they do the attack, they need to know where to go.
And this is also gonna deal with people renting out garages for rooms? No. No? There's a lot of that going on too.
Yeah, that
That's a fire hazard right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, where do you draw the line?
Well,
That's what we're doing. We're drawing the
This is
line.
dealing with just businesses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is just
Yeah, I've
businesses.
seen that.
Yeah, we're drawing the line here, so the staff doesn't have to come up here. They just process them in town at the city hall. But like I said, anytime there's a question, no argument. Fill this out. We're going to take it to the Planning Commission for interpretation.
No person not residing on the premises may be employed at the site of the home occupation. That seems extreme.
Well,
What page is that?
it
Page-
wasn't intended. If
I
you
know I've
want-
read it before, but
Line 50. It's on the second
no
page of
person
the
shall
resolution.
reside,
Nice.
not reside
I'm just
Line
thinking of
numbers. Very
on the
good.
Yeah.
premises may be employed at the site.
Line number what?
Occupation.
line number 50 on the second page of the resolution.
Number 2 of page, whatever.
Yeah, number 2.
No page.
Well, the whole point is that the people in this house are running a business. If you want to have employees, you go downtown, you get yourself one of those vacant buildings. Because as soon as you have people starting to report to work there, you got traffic issues, parking issues, and we already have problems in the city with it. So, you know,
What it's
You
saying
go-
here is strictly to the homeowner.
yeah,
That is the only person conducting business, and only 2 clients can show, 2 clients, is it per day?
Because no person not residing on the premises may be
Yeah.
employed
Right.
at that site.
See,
So I'm
yeah.
thinking of somebody I know in my neighborhood who started her business in her home and had a person working for her, and now she's got a site and several employees.
That's different too.
Now, in the permit here, you only talk about the property owner. If the renter, if he or she is occupying the place, would be the one applying. So their name should be, as who's running the business?
Right.
Is it the same as the owner? So both of them should be there, because you can't, the owner should know everything that's happening. So you can't go get a permit, and I didn't know you were doing this on my property, I don't want you to do it.
What are the fees? Is there a fee schedule? here?
As of right now, we don't have we don't have a fee schedule for this, but, you know, I did bring this up because we currently have been faced with a couple of difficult decisions when it comes to home occupations. One of them being up on Lang Street, where an individual has 2 or 3 non-medical transport or non-emergency medical transport vehicles. 2 of those looking like shuttles, and they are being parked on the street, which is not okay with some of the city's current code.
See, that's the kind that messes up a
That drives
neighborhood.
it, yeah.
So
That one should go get an office with a parking lot.
No. So I mean, the hypothetical, like for instance, my wife works at a AAA office, but will be doing some work sometime at the home. So that would be something.
Would she have her own license to do business there? Or is she working for AAA?
She works in the office, but oftentimes she'll take 3 or 4 hours out of the day and make phone calls out of the home.
Yeah, but she's not inviting clients
Yeah.
into her
No.
It's
not-
certainly
it's not
No,
her-
it's just
yeah.
phone calls.
Work at home
Yeah.
is a normal.
Work at home. We're not
yeah.
talking work at home. We're
No,
talking
No.
about
If I'm having a
okay.
business at home.
No, if all of a sudden you've got 3 or 4 clients going in there every day, and
Right.
people are parking in the in the
No, we don't-
streets
we
and
don't
stuff
have
like
clients
that,
come to the home.
That's the kind of,
Yeah, I was just curious about how.
I did that for 2.5 years at home. For IBM, I worked at home. That's right.
With parking on site.
I'm a land baron. Remember that?
Right. You have to sit out items because of that, being a baron. I just live close. I went to this thing, and a couple of things I want to comment on. Page, no page number. We'll call it page 2 of the resolution.
Line number.
Which item?
Line 73. That's number 9. A home occupation should be limited to only one client, patient, or pupil present at the premises at any time, except small residential care homes, small family home care centers, etc., licensed by the state for the care of 8 or fewer persons. Okay, if you got, they went from 6 to 8, automatic?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so one person's not going to take care of 8 people. So you're going to have some aides in there. So they do report for work there. And so we need to chase that down and find out what the state requires. You know, if you have 8 people, how many aides are you required to have besides yourself?
I thought it was still 6. I thought it was still
I think
6.
it may have gone to 8.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You shouldn't, but I mean, we'll live with it.
No, I understand.
So I would say check
So
on
we'd have to
that.
find out from the state.
Yeah.
I could look that up, but I did get this from one of the other cities' rules in regards to home occupation. However, we did want to follow the lead of Hollister in regards to, I think it was Hollister. They have a certain set of rules for home occupation, but if it does not follow a few of those regulations, then they need to get a conditional use permit, which would then come to the Planning Commission for your guys' approval on that home occupation.
Okay.
Going back to number 6, no sign or advertisement shall be publicly displayed on the premises relating to the home occupation. We have something in the sign ordinance about that they can do it with a permit. Maybe it should be no unpermitted sign.
Well, then it's small. It's one of our minimum signs.
Yeah.
12 by 18 or something. Yeah, because again, you don't want a big billboard out there.
Right.
This is a neighborhood, not a business sign. Yeah, and again, but we got to watch for conflicts.
Yeah, because I think of there's the one there on 3rd Street, the Notary, on 3rd Street, and they've just got a small little sign that just says Notary out front.
Yeah.
Okay.
Line 101. The service-oriented mobile businesses that provide services at the location of a client may function as a home-based business where the complaint or the compliance, I didn't understand where the word complaint
Where the
is.
complaint with all other provisions of the section.
Yeah, I believe it's compliance.
Standards.
Compliance? Maybe it's with compliance.
Yeah.
Service-oriented mobile.
Then on line 110C, sale of goods is permitted only as an accessory to the service-oriented use, such as sale of windshield when it is replaced or new hard drive when it is required and installed as part of a computer repair. Where would you fit Mary Kay Cosmetics? They don't produce them there. They're shipped in. That's like the home is like a warehouse, and the stuff gets sent out.
Right.
That's good. That goes on. A lot of people do that kind of a Avon lady calling.
Right.
So we need to,
I guess, formulate that a little.
yeah, check where that should go. And then on the next page, under line 124, cottage foods operations. This is real touchy. The health department's real tight on fixing food in there. Like in Monterey County, they required a barrier between the living quarters and the cooking quarters so that you couldn't go back and forth. And that required a permit from them, and it used to be in the county at that time. So cottage food operations subject to health department regulations. I would make sure so that they're aware that it's not just the city.
Right. No, and from past experience with situations like that, we require them to go to the health department first and get whatever credentials or permits with them, and then come with us to the city with proof of that, and then we'll keep those for copies.
Okay, but yeah, I would want that just that health department mentioned on that one. Folks have anything else?
Vehicle repair, that's interesting.
So this is just a example resolution, or are we making? No, we're not making a
That's a
decision on any of this,
discussion.
No,
right?
this is discussion.
So
direction.
this is hopefully it'll come up to a resolution, right? And it's going to look like this.
Well, the staff was kind of hoping that we could get this as an action item for the next meeting.
Oh, okay.
If need be.
That's reasonable.
And that's just because we have that non-emergency medical transport
Deal with it.
business license right now pretty much on hold until we figure something like
You should
this
have
out.
sent it, something like that. Just bring it to just say, hey, maybe no fee at this time. Say, look, we're sending this to the Planning Commission for resolution,
Right.
and we can make the interpretation that it does or doesn't. Then you come back, and then if they don't like it, they can appeal to council and tell them why they should be able to have 3 ambulances, floating around the neighborhood.
Right.
No, yeah, and the main complaint behind that was that there was that shuttle that stayed in front of the house for maybe a few days without moving, and I got a few complaints in regards to it. That
It
was
doesn't
causing
belong in the neighborhood.
eyesore. So
Does it look like an ambulance? Kind of
no,
thing?
it looks like a shuttle.
Huh.
Yeah, no, that particular business, they don't look like ambulances. They're more like shuttle vans.
Oh.
So it's like a taxi service to the
From
doctor's appointment.
From a convalescent hospital to the doctor,
Yeah, they should have a place to store those vehicles
Yeah.
rather than residential.
Because the city is subsidizing
Yeah.
at this point by giving them a free parking lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I did mention to that individual about the regulations that we have for recreational vehicles as to having them parked behind a fence.
Yeah.
Out of the view of the public, so I believe that's what they're working on right now.
Behind the front yard setback.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a good use, but it's not the place for it.
Yeah, this is really necessary, I think. There's a lot of things going on that this might address.
And
Okay,
there'll be a
now,
lot of things that
What is
people
your
won't come
goal
forward.
here? We going to take out the section in the book that says the city manager designee has authority to issue a home occupation permit? Are we taking all that out and putting a new one in? Or are we going to have just like one section that says, 1104 or 070 home occupation?
Well, I would suggest that we take out whatever is currently in the code regarding home occupations, just because I don't think that there's enough regulation there.
Enough direction?
Yeah.
What page are you on?
No, I pulled it out of the,
Oh, okay.
I pulled it out of the thing myself. So basically, you're going to take the best of this, stick it into this, and let's see if we can work with that one. You might tell the folks just in discussion it didn't sound good for them
And that's in the municipal plan?
in the municipal code.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Municipal plan.
Yeah, because currently the only mention of home occupations is on the business license. Is this going to be a home occupation, yes or no? And that's all they got to
End of
circle
story.
without giving us any type of detail as to what they're going to do. And we have been, there was one particular a couple months ago where we didn't necessarily know what a gentleman wanted to do because he lived in some homes over there by Valero. I don't know, that probably apartments or whatnot. And he said he was going to sell cars. So, yeah, we're like, how are you going to do that from an apartment
Yeah.
building? But he cleared it up and said that it was going to be purely, internet sales and stuff. So we went ahead and approved his license for that.
So where were they going to consummate the deal?
I believe everything was going to be held online because I know that there's no...
That's money transfers.
Right.
It's got to be paid. Yeah, something like, say, if it's not clear, like I said, I think the commission will back me on that we interpret the ordinance. And if they don't like it, they can appeal to the council. So he's got two chances to change it, get what he wants. Okay. What do you think, commissioners? How you feel about it? Is there anything more you want to add to it or discuss with it? Or
No, I think we need to come back if we can, next month and go to action on this.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
So it
The
looks
sooner
like
the better.
somebody couldn't do, what Etsy is? Etsy?
People make stuff at
things
home.
and sell them online. So sale of products,
Amway?
well, except for artist originals or products.
Etsy is basically artists, people making
Yeah.
handicrafts. Yeah, I think that was
That's
what we're
okay.
all about. Artworks and arts and crafts.
Yeah.
Photography.
Photography.
Yeah.
Got to
Ooh,
include that one.
I'm covered here, huh?
We'll make sure you're covered. So yeah, but so anything bringing in stuff. I mean, you could have an iPod, one of those pods, stuck in there, and you have all kinds of stuff in there. You got shipped direct from Japan.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want that because it'd be out on the street. It wouldn't even have a blink. I almost ran into one of those boxes one time. No markers. At the last second, the light hit it, and I just served out.
Wow.
All it needed was just one reflector, and it wasn't even required, I guess. So go ahead and work with that. If you need direction, give us a buzz. We'll send out copies and ask for any comments you make. If you want us to review it early, be glad to do that too.
Well, if there's any feedback or changes that you guys want made, if you guys just let me know. That way I
Make
get
it
those done
easier.
before the next meeting. And
Page numbers.
no, okay.
So are we going to, I hate to push these things, but are we going to put an action item next week?
Next month.
Okay.
I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah, I do too.
We've got one, and basically we're gonna wipe this thing out because it's under accessory structures and uses. Take the best of that, stick it in here, and then go with a better product.
Yeah.
And that'll have a new name. It'll 4070.
Push comes to shove, 6
080.
months down the road, we can always amend it.
Yeah. But at least we've got it online what we want.
Yeah.
And I think parking, traffic, public health and safety, we have good reason to work on this. Okay.
Yeah. Thermostat's a little off on that
Oh,
thing.
good. Get some ones in here. See, if we didn't have all this business, the cold area would be justification to have a shorter meeting.
Well, if we had more bodies out there, we'd be more.
Okay, so that one goes, so we'll set it for a public hearing for the next meeting.
Okay, 10 days notice.
Yeah, we'll go for a public hearing on that one. And 02. Okay, Rudy, good? Okay, Planning Commission bylaws. It came to our attention last time that there did exist something called bylaws. We had a chance to look them over. We were talking about the stuff that you put together. I think could be included in bylaws or operational rules or something. We can look at election of officers. We can set rotation. And
What about number 4, the time?
Yeah, I was just noticed that.
time?
It says
Oh.
start at 7. We should change that.
That should go to 6. Yeah.
And there is that you can continue the meeting at 10 o'clock if they.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess I didn't realize we needed to notify Trish if we weren't going to be present. Yeah.
Do you really want to know? You really want to know? Okay.
On page 3, on item D, commission action shall be by roll call vote. We should eliminate voice vote.
Yeah, that's that new. Do you have the wording that you want to put in for that? To just that new method of doing it?
I'm sorry, page 3.
Page 3,
D, voting.
Voting. Commission action shall be by roll call vote.
Actually, you can just eliminate shall be, just
Well, you got-
eliminate
Everything
by
up to roll
voice, just
call.
put commission action shall be a roll call vote.
Right,
Yeah, because that's a change to
the government, state, yeah.
state law.
Yeah, so whatever language we need to make that legal. What do you think, 10 o'clock?
I think we should have the.
We should get overtime for that.
But we can
So
say
we push it back to 9?
9's reasonable.
Is that more
We've had a couple where,
humanly possible?
Well, we
we've-
could agree to go on if we wanted to, but
but that way we'd have to stop and make that decision.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
So at 9 o'clock, make that decision?
yeah.
Yeah, you say, okay, it's 9
About
o'clock.
Another hour. then
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
can
you-
go down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got another hour and a half almost yet, let's say.
We've only
I
had a
don't think
couple of
I don't
times.
think,
We've only had it a couple times,
Yeah.
and it was somewhat justified that it was going on big agenda.
and as we,
Tonight's meeting looked like it was going to fly
And
through.
this is
It
I
just
know.
didn't happen.
this is just the first meeting. I think as soon as we hit the third meeting of the year, we just get done quick.
You get back in the roll
Boom.
of things,
See,
right?
The stuff
It's a
we're doing,
preparation that goes into it.
Well, we're lucky that the parties didn't show up tonight, or,
see, and the discussion items we have here, if you notice that, we're talking planning. This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
These others are permits and items that related, but this is the ordinances that everybody else is going to have to kick off from for their projects. Okay, the order of the agenda. Public comment. Oh, that's the standard public hearings, action items, discussion items. Yeah, see, they've got the category discussion items. That's good. Communications would be letters to the commission. Oh, we're looking at page 2, commission agenda.
do any of you ever check your city email?
Yes.
Do you? I don't.
I
They
checked
come
mine
on
the
it.
other day, and, because I had actually logged in finally to it, and saw that there were a couple of emails that I had not seen. And then when I spoke with Connie on Wednesday, she sent, as she was on her computer, she sent me an email that then gets forwarded to one of my Yahoo email accounts.
I would
So-
like it to be sent automatically.
You should be able to get a hold of Connie. She should be able to have a
Okay.
way to forward that. Because
They used to come in that way.
They used to, but then
Yeah.
a couple months ago, it was, there was no way that it was being recorded for public access if need be.
Oh.
It had to be recorded, it had to be recorded or something of that sort.
Be
So
public
she,
record, huh?
that's when she had sent all of us an email.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, except for Pat. But she'd sent all of us an email saying, your email is going to be, has to go through this so that we can
Right.
keep record, so we can keep public record of it. But she then, the email that I was having it forwarded to, she then had it forwarded to that one. And as we sat there in the office, she sent a couple to me, and I sent a couple
Okay.
back out to her, and it seemed to work. So you just call Connie, she should be able to set that up fairly easily.
Okay.
I think I did that.
I go into because it's a, ooh, wow, that was neat. I actually went into the GoDaddy account that it's set up in,
Yeah.
and saw that there were 4 or 5 emails that I had never seen. And I think they were right around that transition time. One of them was right around the transition time, but like 4 of them were spam. And so the spam ones, I think, automatically just either my computer said, no, I'm not taking it, or GoDaddy just didn't forward it. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Speaker times. We tell them we got 3 minutes. But I have not held to that because sometimes, they've got something to say, and I figure if I don't let them say it, we're going to have to hear it at council. So I figure I just go by judgment.
Yeah. Hasn't been a
If it
problem.
looks like it's going to bite us later, just hear them out. But when let's see, at the beginning, public hearing, at the public input, you don't have to dialogue with them. All you do is take the information, and if it needs referral, we do it. But we don't have to dialogue at the beginning. We dialogue during the public hearings. Yeah, it should not exceed 3 minutes, but we have to that's a judgment call for the chairman.
Yeah, I don't want there to be a thing where you give one person 10 minutes and you give someone who had an opposing view, and all of a sudden it's what you gave them, and it goes back and forth.
Well, like I said, if somebody doesn't want to speak,
They can aggregate their time, so we could pretend that somebody in the audience is giving them their time.
I've seen people have the speech written. Well, this was the Sierra Club group. They had the thing written out 3 minutes, and they just turned it to the next guy, and he just continued reading. Half a dozen people, and it was a long presentation, but they got, they played within the rules. At that point, I would have said, hey, one guy, just read the thing. Yeah, we've been pretty good about letting people talk. Okay. Conflict of interest. So you want to go for rotation on the elections?
Well, if we did, we would vote for somebody else.
No, but this way it'd be like an automatic secession, or this gives other people a chance to be up there, take the heat.
Is it necessary? I mean,
I think it's always an option,
yeah,
but
I don't mind the rotation. It just, you guys do such just a darn good job.
yeah.
Well, it's not to say that others couldn't.
Yeah, well, true enough.
Okay. Well, like I said, we're just we're going to have to add that part that you put in.
I just figured out to make it simple for everybody.
Yeah, and again, by having it written what says you can do this? Well, we adopted bylaws, and this is what we require. And I think another thing we should have in there is the applicant must be present for any action to be taken. And that way the applicant or his or her representative, like tonight, the engineer came in, the guy he's in LA or something, and our engineer, now we know, he wasn't objecting to anything that was on there that we would have known otherwise.
So where would you put that? Action items?
So a representative of the applicant must be, the applicant or representative, an
Must be
official
present.
representative of the applicant must be present.
Yeah, but where will we put it?
How about under planning commission meetings, one of them could be A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Or stick it in between something else?
Okay, oh, yeah, that's a good one, yeah.
Right after speakers?
Yeah, so applicants, permit applicants, section F, G,
G?
is that what we're going to title it?
Applicant representation. How's that sound?
Applicant representation.
And where did you want that?
G.
G, a part of,
14G.
after 14, yeah.
G.
14G.
Yeah. Okay. No action on this. No action on an application will be taken unless the applicant or his or her representative is present.
So do they have to pay any fees when they do this? Like they keep it postponing it, do they pay, or they just keep it going?
Well, from what I understand right now, it might be just a one-time fee to get in here and present
So
their.
this is the third time that we're dealing with,
Or the fourth time.
fourth time.
And what about informal project reviews? We should limit the number. Oh, it's not even on here.
No, we should add that.
It just costs the city money.
Oh, we had somebody who kept.
That could be also, list what items should be on the agenda, and you don't have informal project
Yeah.
review. I'll put it in there.
So like between B and C?
Okay. Yeah, when these were, we didn't have informal
Yeah,
project.
yeah.
What's the title on that?
Informal project review.
Informal project review.
I think that's kind of
After
a,
call.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a neat thing that's offered.
we do that,
because
yeah.
I think it's got to save a lot of, I mean, we don't see it often, but when you do, you can give people direction in a hurry.
Well, okay.
It ain't San Juanish enough for us.
But then, do we want to limit the number of times somebody can come with an informal project? Because who kept coming, Mr. McCandless or?
The after the fire.
Yeah. Was
Yeah.
it McCandless?
I don't remember his name.
Which one?
After the fire.
After the fire
I think it was McCandless.
on,
Over here.
The light shop, yeah, lighting
Yeah.
shop.
yeah, the lighting
Yeah.
shop. He came 3 or 4 different
Yeah.
times.
Now, even though, this list but Roger, even though it's called informal project review, and we welcome people to just come up to the podium, Roger, and you guys passed it, asked that they do meet with him.
First, okay.
And, yeah, so it's already, he already has basically an application form.
But they haven't paid
But they
yet.
don't have to pay any
Yeah.
fees or anything like that, but it is an informal project review, and that's what I'm saying is, he's got rules right there.
Okay.
So that will,
Yeah,
maybe should be
okay.
included on that form.
Because when you add those things up, you get a good picture of what's going to fly in the city.
Well, really, we shouldn't have been dealing with any of this stuff until we paid this $13,000 fee.
She's talking about the informal
Right,
reviews.
But you're right. That
Because
shouldn't even be
we
considered.
shouldn't even be talking about it. When they pay that $13,000 fee, then we take off from there.
Are you talking about McCandless or
No,
Baez?
Baez.
Oh,
It's not bad.
Oh, Dubois.
Dubois,
He's in escrow, if we pass it, he
Yeah.
buys it.
yeah.
So who's going to make the payment? That's got to be,
Baez is gonna make the payment. One time it was close to 20-some thousand bucks, but I knocked down to 13 now.
So it,
Never
does the
understand.
formal form have a limit of how many times they can come for informal? No.
I don't think it does.
It's something that we don't hit it that often. I think it's
Okay.
good PR.
Yeah.
And I guess
Maybe.
we get a feeling for what
Sure.
should or shouldn't be there, just by
I guess
discussing.
if they keep coming back with the same thing you told them no, you just kind
You
of
say, come,
say,
yeah.
you know what, we've heard this, come with something new next time.
Seeing Roger can cut him off.
Yeah,
It hasn't become.
yeah.
I mean, just that one, it looked like it was going down that road, but. Okay.
But Roger can handle that.
Yep.
Okay.
But just so we're clear, if somebody just wanted to pop up out of the audience and say, hey, this is what I want to do, they can pop up in front of you and say, hey, here's what I want to do.
No.
And then originally, when this was set up, that was the intent, that they just show up and.
But at least
run by.
now they'll be more prepared,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
And
What do you do if you're a planning commissioner and need to come before the planning commission?
You have to sit out and hope that we can read your brainwaves.
Oh, goody.
Facial expressions are good. So are you going to change communications to comments?
Oh, public comments has got to go in there.
it's C.
Public comments is
Public
C.
comments is on, okay, I'm not.
You got that, I meant the letter I?
You know, I would put communication right after public comments, because if the communication goes to an item, it's in that package.
No, just communications down on I is comments by planning commissioners.
Oh.
Right, so
Let's
we're
change it just
confusing
to-
it. It's confusing, so do we change it to
So
comments?
I'll just be more specific, comments by planning commissioners
Right.
and staff.
Staff, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be good for a start. We'll look it over, then type it up, and then we can talk about it next time. Now, that doesn't take a public hearing. That just is an action item because it's an internal thing. Think?
I'm wondering if it doesn't have to go to.
Oh, people will get a chance to comment on it because it is on the agenda.
Right.
Yeah, but
So it's still
where
open
does
to the
it-
public.
Where does it get added to?
Okay, so even when they established the youth commission, they have bylaws, and those bylaws came to the city council for approval.
Whoa.
So I think these changes,
Need to come to
So it'd be an
council.
action item, but it wouldn't be a notice public hearing. We just take an action item.
because it's not in the municipal code, so it doesn't have to be a public hearing.
No, it's just a policy for us to guide us in making decisions. So this is what we want, send it up to commission, to the council. They bless it, and
Interesting.
Do you want to see this again before it goes to the council?
I would say, yeah.
yeah, because we still have to put
We still have to get Pat's
Commissioner
notes.
Garrett's stuff in there.
And I don't know how to integrate those.
So I don't know if we're going to break that up or different sections or just, but that's a critical operation guide. Okay.
Those things I thought were in belonging in your design guidelines or perhaps on the forms for when they come and get a permit. When they start the process. That these items need to be brought to their presentation to the planning commission. Street sidewalks, verification property lines, concrete masonry walls, and all of that. That needs to be in the applicant's preparation before they.
Maybe we can shorten it up. We just have titles in there.
I do have a,
A complete site plan. You don't have to tell them what's in it, but a complete site plan it includes 10 items in there. But just by having must submit a complete 4 copies of a complete site plan, and then either their draftsman or their engineer can tell them what's in that. And if it comes to us incomplete, we just send it back.
Because that pretty much covers the whole thing.
We can put down here, will not deal with incomplete applications.
The only modification I'd make on your note is on the very first one, line 3. It says all construction and historic.
Where did they get cats?
Should be, mine was in my binder. It should be right behind it.
I didn't
Right
get it.
after the
Yeah, that's it, right there.
bylaws that you were looking at.
That's it.
Historic?
Board
Yeah.
policies.
Oh,
I would just
Okay.
say where it says all construction in the historic district, just put all construction, remodel, and modifications in the historic district. Yeah.
Yeah, we did that after.
Other than that, it's,
A board meeting, but it could be also for
Darn fine
the
job.
operation of the planning commission.
I think that it should follow the format of the planning commission.
Follow the format of the planning commission.
I think that we need to include the appointment, the qualifications, the requirements, or the term.
Oh, in other words, you want bylaws for the,
I'm looking, this is Historic Resources Board.
no, forget that right now. He came up with some concerns about stuff that came to the Historic Resources Board wasn't coming to the Resources Board.
Oh,
And so he did all these things in here and say, hey, look,
okay.
this would be an operating policy, that basically a site plan. We're getting stuff that is incomplete.
Okay.
And that one of them was the Jardinas. Yeah, Roger had to sketch into that thing so that we could know what was happening. He shouldn't have had to do that.
Okay.
He's busy.
Yeah.
So-
The bottom one there says the city manager can't override us, it has to come back to.
Good, okay, yeah. Good.
Because we got in trouble with that before on a couple of projects.
Mhm.
We wouldn't have been in this trouble if we would have had that in there.
on the front of the original bylaw, planning city of San Juan Bautista bylaws, we should have something on the top of, well, this should also have HRB up there.
It's a
And
different body.
Huh?
It's a different body, technically.
It's an advisory body to the planning commission,
Oh, okay.
HRD.
Then do they have their own, does it have its own bylaws or guidelines on how to structure
Well, it used to.
it? It sounds like what we do is we basically follow,
We do it once and then we change the title and they send it to the other one.
okay.
But see,
That was my question.
See, right here, yeah, I agree with Trish. All this stuff doesn't have to be in our policy. We say must have X copies of a complete site plan, period. So what's the site plan? And then on a separate sheet that the handout, they can put all the rest of this stuff. But we don't need to tell them, we want, in our policy here, tell us about the colors and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
That's busy work. We say a complete site plan. Applications will not be considered without a complete site plan, whatever else you want.
For a good example.
Scope of work.
When we did the brewery, they didn't have a landscape before, that come up later.
Yeah.
We want the whole thing at one time to make that decision. I don't think we made a decision yet on the planning there.
No, and
We did pass some of it, but not all of it.
we didn't look at the whole property as one.
Right.
Yeah, which we should have. On the first item, all construction in the Historic Resources District, I think it should be all modifications or all,
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Construction, remodeling.
Remodeling,
Yeah.
reconstruction, how about demolition?
oh, well, they need a demolition permit.
No, but I mean, the commission should know that the building's coming down,
Absolutely.
just in case.
Well, we've
Yeah.
kind of fallen on our face on one of them recently. But we thought we were doing the right thing. No. Anyway, yeah, I think demolition should be in there too.
Okay, all construction, including
Yeah.
including what?
Remodeling,
Remodeling, reconstruction,
renovation.
demolition. Reconstruction is a different item.
Reconstruction
Okay.
and demos.
well, even paint, okay. Reconstruction.
The other thing I don't
Do we
see,
say restoration,
Well,
or is that reconstruction?
that's I
Reconstruction.
don't know about remodeling. Would that be renovation?
Is that renovation? Is that restoration?
I would say any work done on
Yeah.
historical district has to come on done.
Yeah.
The one thing this doesn't address, and it would be simple to put in, would be not just historic district, but historic
Structures.
inventory.
Boundaries.
Historic
Well,
structures.
Historic, you don't think?
There's only 3 old houses in San Juan.
Yeah, but I mean,
House and a couple old houses.
the Crane home is not in the historic district, is it? Right, but it's a historic.
Structure.
Well, it's in the, they took it out, put it in the inventory.
But that's my point, is that
The Morentis house.
Oh, so we should
Wilcox.
we should state that.
we should
Maybe-
state
what
that
is
Oh,
in the historic
construction in the
inventory,
historic-
not just district, but the historic, historic district and
On the inventory.
on the
Inventory,
historic
yeah.
inventory
inventory, yeah.
should come before.
And the items, number 7 down to 14, should they be numbered or alphabetized?
Well, we're going to take those out.
We are?
They're going to be on a separate sheet. That's be a handout. So the guy says,
All the way to
you
the
said I got
bottom.
to have a complete site plan. What is a site plan? And it better have all these things in it, and then we'll give them a separate
Okay.
sheet. Work for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get the historic inventory?
Yes.
Okay.
And is that the proper term? Proper title?
Historic resources inventory.
Historic resources,
Resource
yeah.
inventory.
Okay.
You know, the Crane House wasn't on the most recent, the 2005 inventory.
And it's one of the most oldest houses in California.
Well, neither was the brewery.
Cool.
How did we miss out?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And why didn't we notice it until, 10 years later?
Yeah. Well, we'll keep number
Time
20
to
for
do
sure.
inventory again.
It is.
Yeah.
But
I just did inventory at work. I'd like to want to help, but
So this applies first to the Resources Board. So we'll draft this up and send it to the Resources Board. But yeah,
I think that's good.
and let them hash it out.
yeah, let's ask the board to do something.
Dealing with this, yeah.
They might have better ideas to put into this than we
They
will.
need to show up.
And 100 pages.
We're doing too much as it is.
okay, yeah, I can work with you and we'll reduce this down in size and just figure what goes into the policy, what goes into the bylaws, and what goes onto the info sheet. But this has to be going, like I say, once we say site plan, we better tell them what a site plan is. And that should cover us. If we want architectural drawings, we tell them. Architectural drawings, and if you want sizes, like whatever it takes. You can't make an informed decision without information. And so that's all we're trying to do is to help them. Because if we got to say, fine, but if we need this, we send them back for a month or two. This way they set a complete application, we crank on it, and we go out. Okay. So we're still in the ballpark. Any other comments on this? Yeah, Trish, if you draft it up and then we'll take it again and.
Okay.
But now, we will get you that missing part for the word about the what's required for a review. Okay, rescheduling of the historic downtown streetscape guidelines meeting.
So,
Which is it?
do we not want to discuss this at a meeting, or do we actually want to have a separate meeting?
I think part of the problem with this is it always hits at the end of the evening
We're not,
when
talk
we're all
about
running out
it.
of
Yeah.
gas. I had a discussion with Roger last week about this, and I'll run it by you unless, did he talk to you about this? About integrating it into the
Design guidelines.
Oh, yeah.
design guidelines? Okay. Yeah, and I mean, it actually does kind of make sense.
Oh,
You
it
can just
does, yeah.
integrate it, and
Yeah.
that way it's just a document
Yeah.
that
It's got to go somewhere, and that's
if this, then that.
yeah.
I almost think we need to set up a workshop for this, just so that we can focus on it, because it's kind of important.
Yeah. So I forget when we had planned to do it before. Was it in an evening or a day?
I think it was the evening.
It was evening. I would like merchants to come, and I don't think they'll come at night.
Well, we can do
But-
the work at the night, and we can put it on a discussion item at the meeting. But by having the workshop, you have something to put up for discussion.
So which first, the discussion and the meeting?
No, I think drafting something for them to talk about.
Well, this is drafting.
Okay, then, let's just,
I mean, if there are things you think we need to add or things you want to eliminate right now, we can do that, but,
well, then let's go with this then.
okay, so we'll bring this to the meeting and let people hash it out. We're not going to take 3 years on it.
Good.
60 days.
No.
And let's see, let's put it out and see what happens, see what sticks. A lot of
Waiting right
controversy.
now? I was going to comment on some of the words,
Okay.
like using the word must
Okay.
instead of shall and should, and because sometimes you're using should, and then there are places where, like in the Historic Resource Board, must review. Shall.
Which page are you on? Or what-
Page 3, 124.
Okay. And Trish, you said must equals shall?
Shall means will.
Okay.
Must is the same as will, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a requirement.
Or should.
Or another example,
Should is more.
Iffy.
To,
Yeah.
to,
Not
line,
as,
line 62,
in-
bike racks, they should be firmly attached, doesn't mean they
Oh.
have to be. It just means, yeah, they should. So that should be changed.
or do you want me to say they shall be?
Shall be,
Yeah,
okay.
that's,
Shall be.
that's.
Yeah, they better be.
That's the only thing I came up with, that and
Okay, benches should be made of wood, change it to shall,
benches.
or other natural, line 55. I hate to
Benches
be
would
so
made of wood.
bossy.
Should be. Should.
Benches shall be,
Well, shall and must are the same thing.
yeah.
So
So
should
rather
is a-
than, should is too wishy-washy. I'll just take out all the shoulds. Oh, the
Well,
color
shall be made
palette.
of wood and should be located where they don't interfere. See, the should
I could
now,
just take that out.
the second should gives you flexibility as to where to put them.
I could just say
The first one
benches
says
shall
it
be
better.
made of wood and other natural materials and located where they do not interfere. We don't even need should be.
Shall be made of wood or other natural, and should be located.
Don't we have some benches downtown that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're wood.
They're
but
wood.
They have,
A metal
Wrought
frame.
Metal bracing and legs and stuff like that, yeah.
Or other natural materials. Huh.
Which really doesn't work. Metal and wood just doesn't work together. I think it causes your wood to split it a lot faster.
Huh, which it is
Because
doing.
it doesn't give.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do I know?
All right, the color palette shall be. Low key.
And one other item in here, I know you're not going to like this, but you say the barrel should be San Juan Bautista's official trash receptacle.
Okay.
To me, that's pretty strong.
I said should. Oh, you want it to be shall?
No, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Well, that's
A
something
barrel?
that's debatable. Okay.
I mean, it's like, that's it, the barrel's it, man.
well, we could.
I'll be back.
Okay.
Should
Should is an
means
option.
there's an option.
Yeah.
and the mission has.
They have the barrels. Yeah. And that's something we could decide. If the city's going to start to brand itself, we could.
That's cool,
Verandas.
yeah, that's all right.
It's up for discussion. It's okay.
It's just that I go throughout the world and I actually got pictures of different trash barrels, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
And there's some pretty cool stuff out there.
Murals.
Yeah, I mean, in Victoria, downtown Victoria, it's just awesome.
But the problem is, do we want what we have now? That's the problem.
Oh, no.
Those are characterless.
I don't know. It's-
Do we want something with character or not? All right, we've lost our leader. So I'll change all the shoulds to shalls.
He's gone with a big pile of shoulds on the side once
that's
you get all
really
done.
Oh, we went past 9 o'clock. Do we need a vote?
No, because it's 10 o'clock
Oh,
on the
it's-
current ones.
All right, well, let's look at our
fine.
calendar. Do we want to talk about this in February? Do you want to do it in March?
All this, on all of them, or just your section?
Just on this one.
On this one?
You want to do this in March? Actually, I said we'd do it in February.
I don't think we're that big of a rush, are we?
Some people are. Some people keep asking, when is this going to come up?
Yeah,
Are they San Juaners?
Sometimes.
if we can push it into February, for me at least, that
Yeah.
really, really packed for January.
So then we'll do a workshop first, and then we'll have bring it to the agenda, bring it as an action item?
Yep.
Okay. So
Cool.
let's look for an evening in February.
I'm gonna ask a question.
You want to ask a question?
Does our attorney pay for this stuff when this guy sues me? I wanna know, because if he's not gonna pay for it, I'm gonna step down tonight.
You should talk to Roger about it, it's not on the
Huh?
agenda. Talk to Roger.
Yeah.
Because I don't want
I think we have bond.
no lawsuits.
I
I don't
think,
get paid for this job, and I don't want to lose everything
I think you're right on. I'm with you. I think this is kind of like a little too extreme. For what purpose, I don't understand it. But anyway, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know.
All right.
So what, the design guidelines, are we going to go into that too?
We'll try to have a meeting in February.
Okay.
An
All right,
evening
so everything's
meeting.
going to February, okay.
Yeah, so maybe Trish, you can help us with that, pick
Okay.
an evening? A Tuesday or a Thursday? Maybe
Oh, Lord.
night, 6.
Oh,
6,
o'clock.
yeah.
That's why I didn't want to read it. I don't want you,
Well, I know what-
you to think that it's
I know
coming
what it's all
from
about.
any one of us.
I can't say, but I know what the whole thing's
Yeah.
about. It's about somebody paid too much for a piece of property.
Yeah,
All right, we better not say any more about it.
I'm not.
yeah.
All right,
We're-
so we've decided
I
that
think
you're
we're being
going to
recorded.
redo the design guidelines and then bring it to us next month.
If you leave or you're not here, did
get-
anybody
you
see what
get-
they did to Chris at the council meeting?
No.
Yeah, they voted him in Vice Mayor. He wasn't even here. It was perfect.
Okay,
Okay.
so
that
we're
put
going to try for a evening meeting, 6 o'clock meeting in February for the design downtown.
6 p.m. Date to be determined?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. The last one is the Strategic Planning Committee report by Commissioner Goodesoff.
I unfortunately was unable to make last month's
Okay.
meeting.
Can
No
we improvise?
I'm sorry?
Can you improvise?
There's a group of brilliant people who meet the second Tuesday of every month here in council
yes.
chambers
Discuss.
and have extremely intelligent discussions. I'm sure it was brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the best I can come up with.
Couldn't have been if you weren't there.
Well,
Yeah.
with probably a tad bit more brilliant since I wasn't there. I'd probably up the, me not being there, up the IQ by quite a bit. I'm sure of it.
Okay. How about comments? Commissioners, you want to say anything?
Yes. I made a comment, I believe the last meeting, requesting Anthony Patel to be here to give us some, his input from the changes in remodeling or the building
Earthbound?
construction is going on with Earthbound. And we heard from Earthbound. They gave us a presentation which was well received. And I requested that Anthony Patello, on behalf of San Benito County and our district supervisor, to come forward and speak to us about that. That we never, when something like that important is being done around as close to us, why aren't our district supervisors here to explain to us what's happening within our county
Or county planning.
or county planning? And I leave the door open is that when something like that comes up, why aren't we being invited to attend their meetings when they bring that subject up? With all due respect to the planning that's being done by somebody, with all due respect to the supervisor, what have you, all that's being said, but why aren't we taking those steps to make sure that we're working together on whatever happens in Seminole County, that we got the right people being talked to and discussed with? Because the dialogue is happening.
That's been some of the problems we've had in the past.
Yeah. And every time I talk to our staff people here, they're saying that it's there, it's open, the dialogue is there, but I don't see it happening. It may be happening from one office to the other, but not with the governmental parties. And that has to change. Things are escalating. I mean, changing pretty fast around.
You hit it.
Environment, everything is going on right now.
You hit it at a good time. It's January, starting off the year.
Not to mention security, which is another thing we should be looking at.
Yeah.
Okay, Rudy. What does it take to get a letter to a formal request to Supervisor Botello?
How about an open invitation that says, hey, we're talking about something, come on over, guys. We want you guys to be there. At least that, too. I mean, either way.
And she's the one at the top who could do it.
Yeah.
If I remember the discussion and was that we had asked if we could hear from Supervisor Botello, and it was kind of stated, well, there's nothing really to report on until Earthbound gets things a little more gelled, and then he can come. That's not to say it wouldn't be nice to hear where he sits right now, and then hear from him after it gets more gelled.
Yeah, but Earthbound came to us and says, we're starting to gel with this.
Yep.
We just need your input.
Yeah.
Okay, where's our government? Where's our district supervisor? I mean, it's kind of, isn't it kind of strange that he's our supervisor, but yet you don't see him in this building? I mean, I see him at the strategic planning committee once in a while, stuff like that, or at the mission kind of a thing, and that's kind of nice.
Neighborhood watch.
But, when something important like that comes up, and I think it's really important, because they're going to change that road.
Yeah.
Eliminate the road, and they're going to reroute it and all this other stuff.
That's going to be a big deal, actually.
And it's right down the road from us.
Yeah.
And when we continue to grow, I understand, but when we continue to grow as a city, that could be a big stumbling block.
Would it be easier if I was to send him a letter or call him?
And again, with all due respect to the supervisors and everybody, and Earthbound, even more so we should be getting together because of that.
Yeah, and this way we know
care.
So we know what the county is thinking about us in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That should be a tradition we've got here.
Yeah.
Chairman, our supervisor briefs us on everything that's basically what happened last year and what are you going to do for us this year. It's an election year too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's the best way to handle this? I could, as chairman, I could call him. Chairman, I could send him a letter.
I think a phone call would be nice at first.
I'll do that tomorrow.
And then maybe if you guys decide we need to follow up with an invitation or something, that'd be formal, to kind of put the stake in the ground that we're going to start dialoguing.
How about the February meeting?
Yeah.
And I'll tell him we'll be looking for him in January, every January.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've got major issues down the street that's happening, County City, and we're like, if we hadn't called them, I don't think we would have had that presentation. Mm-hmm. And that would be deeper in the dark.
Yeah, I felt that Earthbound felt really good about that because we weren't so much as wanted to know what was going on, other than how can we help you with this?
Because it's going to affect.
How can we grow together? I
actually had a discussion with the gentleman who lives across the street from you in the corner. His name escapes me. He's the ops manager guy.
Not Jim.
The guy who drives the Mustang across the street with the blue pickup right next to the gondola on Donner.
Gondola?
Are we getting off?
Donor.
Are we getting off subject here?
Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
I will call tomorrow. I'll start. I've got somebody else on the line. I've been out for a couple of weeks now, and I keep getting put off. So I'll start tomorrow with Supervisor Patello and tell him we'd like him to come and address this at the February meeting. As soon as I get either I get verbal, which we'll follow up with a letter, I'll get back to you, and you get that on the agenda. We'll get him at the very beginning, right under public comments.
Yeah.
So even before public comments, he's be our first public guy, and then everybody else can talk after that. And maybe he'll stay for the meeting.
I think it would help him with his votes even.
And
The
the,
voters,
and the
this could
general
fit
plan will
you.
be, if he wants to stay, the general plan's coming up right after that. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you brought that up. But you're right, we did talk about that. Okay. Any other comments from commissioners? No city manager? How about the assistant city planner?
Well, there's one comment. I had a individual that purchased a house out on San Antonio, and she was worried about why those homes why they don't have a mailbox at the property, and rather than going to the P.O. box. And it was purely because I guess she gets medication through the mail, and being that she has a P.O. box, they won't deliver it to her. I don't know if she has to go to a centralized location to pick it up, or...
I've got the solution to that. Have her write down, I write mine down 1108, number 490.
I get mine in the mail.
Yeah.
At the
Oh, okay.
post at the post
Yeah.
office.
I just write down that you put down your street address, number, whatever your P.O. box is, and
Yeah.
they'll make sure it makes it to the box.
Or your zip
After your PO.
Yeah.
I mean, your
You
zip
have to
code.
zip code,
After zip code.
95045
Zip code.
dash.
I don't even do it like that. I just put down the street name, number, and put it that, and it makes it.
I've had that problem.
Yeah.
So this is a new person who's purchasing one of the new homes?
Yeah.
They're already for sale?
Well, I believe she's probably already bought it, because she showed concern maybe, I want to say a couple months ago, and I asked her to come to the meeting and give a public comment, but I guess she was ill or something happened. She didn't make it, but then she went ahead and gave me a call and asked me how it went, and I said, well, I didn't see you at the meeting, so it just popped in my mind right now, and I figured, why not ask?
Yeah, I just put a street address, number, my post, street address, number 490, and those things make it there. Because I never know when they say, I never know how it's going to ship. If it's coming UPS, or if it's coming FedEx, or if it's coming to the post office. So if you put that in, it covers all bases.
Yeah, most shipping departments want to get the product out.
Yes,
and
they
they're
do.
very open to whatever you want to put on there, they'll do it.
Yep.
I have another comment. Can I make a comment as well?
Yes, ma'am. Your assistant to the assistant.
These are the minutes for the 2006 Planning Commission meetings.
Oh.
I found when it was discussed about the property on 7th Street, and there's some 7 pages of discussion.
Huh.
And I didn't take these minutes, and the person who did verbatim
Oh.
minutes.
Wow.
So they're very
Detailed.
explicit, detailed.
Oh.
And would you like me to make copies?
Yeah.
Or if I have it online electronically?
Yeah, yeah.
I can-
Yes.
That'd be good.
Yes.
Make sure I told you as a group, so I don't have to mail yours.
Okay,
Okay?
good.
Sounds real
Some
good.
insight into how they got to where
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's great. I wondered what you were reading there.
If
You pulled a Hillary.
Okay. Mailbox. I've had stuff turned back. But it's, if you're dealing with UPS and with FedEx, etc., zip +4.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you use both of your,
Yeah.
I tried to put them on the same line, and that didn't fly. So use P.O. Box, and then this, and then, but the zip +4, and this way, if there's any questions, that's
know.
it. And when you got multiple names in the city, I was getting some other Franco stuff,
Yeah.
and I told her it's not me. And so, twice now, 3 times I've had to send stuff back on somebody else.
I don't get anybody else's Gretasoft stuff coming to me.
Must be only one of those. Okay, any other comments?
We got a
I'll
lot
entertain
done.
a motion for adjournment.
I make that motion. I move to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
what time do we want to call this? We'll just take that one by consensus, 9:24.